If fighting was a god, I would worship him. I would bow to him. I would pray for victory. For he only grants opportunities. But behind every god lurks a devil. And the devil wants me to take a dive. My name is Annatomic. And this is how my legend was made.
When footsteps fall in eldritch hollows, and spectres flee into the shadows, that is the time when horror's heroes abound, culling the ghouls that go bump in the night.
What is up, all you beautiful people from the heart of Lovecraft country and the birthplace of American religious liberty? My name is SHANTH ENJETI. You're watching SHANTH ENJETI Art, coming to you live and slightly undead here in the heart of Lovecraft country. I hope you guys are well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be doing some artwork. We're going to be talking some stuff and talking some artwork and doing some stuff. I don't even know. It's been a while. It's been crazy. Lots of madness going on. I want to give a shout out first before I get to my channel members, especially you, Mark's Music Obsession. I was doing the credits and I went, Mark's up there now. He's been here so long. For those of you guys who don't know, when you become a channel member, the way that it works is I always put the credits at the end of the show, the channel member credits. The people who've been here the longest are at the top. And so the longer you've been here and the more months you've put in, and it's cumulative for however long you've been a member. If you leave and come back, whatever it is, that all adds up. I hear police. Am I in trouble? So that's how you get up there. So yeah, lots of... You know what I'm saying, guys? It's one of those things. I don't know what to say. There's always action and excitement here. First I want to say hello and to all of you guys, but I also want to say thanks to Warlock Magazine for a totally unexpected collaboration. I had done a Springball homage cover to get people excited about Warlock Magazine, and then it turned into an actual cover. I did an interview with those guys, which was a blast, and I wanted to just say thanks to those guys. It was crazy how these things come together, but that's what happens. When you're in Comicsgate, when you're doing things like this and you're doing independent comics, you can do things at the speed of thought, and it's a great place to be. So let me get to my channel members here and see who we've got. We've got Mark's Music Obsession in the house, Brother Shanth, Brother Mark. You know how it goes, man. Glad to see you here. We've got John in the house. It's great to see you, John. Who else have we got here? We have got, is it Frederic? Is it Guillermo? Is that how you pronounce that? Let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I might be butchering that, and I apologize. We've got Rachel Brinkley here. How you doing, Rachel? It's good to see you. Love that Salamandroid mug. It is cool to see. We've got Alfonso Riley. How are you doing, my friend? I am so... Thank Vishnu for Sean. That cracked me up. Trying to be a nice person on Greybeards. Yeah, there you go. Oh, my God, man. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Christopher Bouchard, it's great to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. Yes, indeed. Yeah, hail Warlock. Indeed, indeed. Let's see. Citizen Ronan is here. It's great to see you, Citizen Ronan. How are you doing? We've got Flutterbat up in this place. It's great to see you, Flutterbat. And yes, indeed, hail CG. And I hope all of you guys are doing well on this fine Wednesday. Let's start talking comics. Let's start talking art. You guys might have seen, and I don't mean Art Thibert, although you saw his trailer. We've got a really, a bunch of exciting things going on right now. Tomorrow, Thursday, I believe it is. Thursday. Yes, you pronounced it perfectly, Shanth. Love that Warlock cover. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend, and glad I could get your name right, because mine is tough even for me to say. But tomorrow, Thursday, Graham is going to be closing out Escape from Monster Island, the third part in the trilogy, the Monster Island trilogy. So if you have not had a chance to pick that up, make sure that you go down to the independent creators links right there, and it should still be there. Escape from Monster Island by Graham Nolan. Do not miss out. That campaign is closing out tomorrow. Graham is a fellow monster kid. It's great. It's been great getting to know Graham and send monster stuff back and forth. Like, did you see Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein? Oh man, I'm looking forward to that. And you know, it's my cup runneth over when it comes to my fellow artists that I get to hang out with, and including the ones that I hang out with in real life as well. We get to kind of talk monsters, talk shop, and that's what I like to bring when we're doing these streams. So yes, keep yourself aware of the fact that there's a closeout for Graham Nolan's Escape from Monster Island. And then in other news, my first Comicsgate collaboration, though we didn't know Comicsgate would be a thing decades later, was with a young man by the name of Andy Smith. And Andy Smith just launched the campaign for LILINETH, and that is at the top of my independent creators links right there. Just scroll a little ways down in the description. If you have not backed LILINETH yet, get out there and do it. I was actually working on a painting the other day just to have some time painting and doing what I do, and of LILINETH, because an idea just popped into my head while I was streaming with Andy. And, but I don't think I can show it. That's the problem. Hello, friends. Hello, Eric Weathers. How are you doing? You want to come in here and do some painting, man? Do a painting lesson live. I hope everything's well, Eric. I hope you're doing well. But I was working on this painting, and I realized I don't know how I would work on it live, because, LILINETH is topless. And that's a problem. That's a problem for streaming. And now I don't know how tough they are on art, but I suddenly said, "Oh, I don't know if I can paint this on stream." And I was really interested in doing that, but I've got more than enough artwork going right now, so I don't have to worry. I'm not at a loss for what I can do on stream and what I can paint. So if you guys haven't backed SPRINGBALL yet, Terminal Monstrosity, that book is going to be a banger. I had the fortune of seeing something that my wife found. Oops, I don't want to put that. How do I store this? Well, I guess you can't really see it at that angle, so I don't have to worry as much. Yes, indeed. You know it's true, Rachel. You know it's true. So here's the thing. Emo Trash, what's up? What's up? Why is Shanth composed of 6 pixels collectively? Oh gosh, is it running slow? Huh, I don't know. It's either you or it's me, but it's got to be one of us. It could be both of us. So let me see, where are we at here? So Mrs. Enjeti was going through. Let me see if I can find these. Was going through. Let's tip the camera. Let's tip the camera, shall we? Let's take a look at what my desk looks like when I'm doing sketches. These are things that are going to be in the Nosfero Oxidized Edition. These are sneak peeks at Book 2 for those of you guys who are curious about what's going to be there. This is some of the stuff there. So Mrs. Enjeti went through. Unfortunately, the cover is torn on the back, but I don't care because I was so excited. She found the second printing of the first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I didn't have this to collect. It wasn't bagged and boarded. As you can see, the corner is tore off on the back here. I got it because I love Ninja Turtles and I love the memories of this book. My man, Lord Hinson Comics Gator, snuck in when I wasn't looking. Channel member, it is great to see you, brother. Hail, Shanth, what's up, chat? Just landed at the Frio River till Monday. Very cool. Saw the alert and had to say, what's up, Lord Hinson Comics Gator. It is great to see you, brother. I hope you are doing well. Let me see here. Let me see. Citizen Ronan saying, well, gotta pay them bills. Someday your paintings will be doing that. Yeah, absolutely, man. And once your paintings start paying the bills, never forget it becomes work. So you have to decide what you want to do, with them paintings. But it's a blast. I can't complain. So she found this, which if you want to know something that is the undercurrent of everything I do in terms of inspiring my work and all of that kind of stuff, it's that this was possible. This kind of thing was possible. Howdy, what is up? I'll never be happy again. Well, you can't say that completely because you're here and you're going to be happy. Or that's it. That's all we're doing. So I got this and I was looking at this thing and I was going, this is what it's about, man. You put together a comic book. You tell a story. You know how to tell a story. And you make something that's exciting, and it's the first of its kind. And this is the thing, too, for me with SPRINGBALL. SPRINGBALL is, in this incarnation of the book that is live right now, it is the thing as it's meant to be. It was always supposed to be this, but here's the crazy part. You guys are going to see something. What's up, channel member Tammy D in the house? It is great to see you. How have you been, girl? So here's the thing. You guys are going to see something that Miss Enjetti found 2 hours ago. Not even 2 hours ago. We've been looking for this because we wanted to share this with the fans so people can understand fully the journey that it's taken for Springball to get here. And because it's one thing to hear about it. Oh, 20 years ago, I was doing Springball. I took it around conventions. I didn't know, it was so hard to get any traction. It was well, liked by people. They said, this is cool, But it was not the kind of thing that I could keep doing. Writing, coloring, penciling, inking. It was just nuts. Doing everything. It was just a crazy system to do it in. And so Mrs. Enjetti went down to the basement. And she was going through looking for some stuff. Probably looking for some photos for us to reminisce over because our 25th anniversary is coming up. And she's incredibly excited. But here's some stuff that I haven't seen in ages. Are you guys ready? This is me. Holy cow. I don't know how many years ago this would be. 23 years ago? In 2001, maybe 2002. I think it was 2002. I think it was Philadelphia Comic-Con, but I'm not sure. You ready? Here's the table. That's actually me standing there with a Springball sticker on my shirt. Because I had Springball stickers that people could come and pick up. And then that's the preview issue, which was the first comic ever printed of Springball. Was this preview issue. So if you have this, you have the first thing. Oh my god. You're going to be horrified by how skinny I am in these pictures. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. There is me working on a sketch for a fan at the convention. Let's see. Can I show this? I don't even know if I can show. This is going to scare you guys. I don't think you guys are ready for this, man. There is me at my booth drawing. Here's another photo of me working at my booth, and I got these two banners. Mrs. Enjetti did take these pics. Yeah, I have two banners that I figured out a way to take these long vertical banners and pull them up and make the cover out of those so I could travel with these banners. You could sling them over your shoulder, lay them on the ground, then pull them up, and you could see they're hooked up at the top like masts. And I haven't seen these things. They've been in the basement for ages. Not the photos, these banners. And when it came time to launch Springball on launch day, I was like upstairs. I go, all right, let's go downstairs. We're going to do this book. Let's get ready to rock and roll. I came downstairs, and in the living room, Mrs. Enjetti had brought these up from the basement and pulled those up so that when I came down the stairs on the launch day for the Indiegogo campaign, about 3 months ago or so, they were waiting for me. And so, yeah, she's been all in from the start. Do you guys want to see a picture of, oh my gosh, she looks like she's 5 in this. My lord. I don't know if I can show this. She might kill me. Oh my lord. How old would she be in this? Like 24, maybe? 24? All right, there you go. There's a little glimpse of Mrs. Enjetti behind the booth there at 24 years old. My god, our kids are almost that age now. Craziness. And then you can see, like, some of the, for all I know, Ethan Van Sciver was there because this was, this was Philly. But there's the DC Comics booth back in the day. This is the aisle we were on. We were on aisle 600. And then here's me meeting some fans right here at the convention and signing books and selling stuff. This is Wizard. This one's from Wizard World Chicago. Look at that. So here I am in Chicago. Oh, here was someone interviewing me, which was absolutely nerve-wracking. I remember this. God, that was nuts. People would just come up to you and interview you for stuff, man. It's wild. Welcome to Wizard World Chicago. Are you guys ready for a truly, like, horrifyingly skinny photo of me? I don't think you're ready, but there you go. My God. Comics, and I don't know where this one is from. Is this the same? I don't think this is the same con, is it? No, this is a different con. So there you go. This photo is a little bit reflective, but there I am at another convention, just chilling. Look at this, man. Wizard World East. I don't know if my wife had permission to take that picture of that man's rear end. And there I am doing more signing. Yeah, it's just craziness. So there you guys go. These photos were just found by Mrs. E. And I was just shocked. So yeah, that's how long I've been doing the comic book thing. That's how long I've been doing the art thing. And I will say that when I started doing this work, when I started working on Springball, and when I started, you know, all of this, well, actually when I started doing the first two art books, I remember thinking to myself, I had an idea of where things were going to go in my life, and I like what I want to do with comics, and you know, how I wanted to work in comics, and even though I got great feedback, I think I was 20. I just Flutterbat. I think I was 20. That was in 2001 or 2, but I think it was 2002. So I was 25, I think. If that make no 26 in those. So I was about, you know, God, is that right? No, that doesn't make sense. No, it does make sense actually. Hold on a minute. 6. No, I couldn't have been 26. Huh. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. 23 years ago, I would have been 25. I think I was 25. You never know. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, John. I've been doing this for a long time, and that's how long it takes. So Springball was featured in, like, you know, British publications on how to draw comics and things like that, and you know, it made its way around. People had heard of it and that, but you know, I sort of, you know, went in a different direction, doing freelance illustration and things like that, and then I would do the odd, you know, comic book job. So Starship Troopers, Flash Gordon, all of that kind of stuff. But my heart was always in doing this. This is what I was introduced to by my friend Zach. No kidding, your boy Zach, but my boy Zach, who's a different Zach, growing up in Tennessee, and he brought in Ninja Turtles to school, introduced me to grips and all of that cool stuff, and I've been making stuff ever since. And so to come back to Springball and to relaunch Springball is unbelievable to me. And I've been, yeah, John, you are 100% right. Sean's a 20-plus year overnight success. That's how it goes. When I think about how difficult comics were to break into then, and even with, I mean, I had so many instances where I'd show my work and I thought, this is going to lead to a job, man. My senior year of college, I showed my portfolio to Mark Chiarello, and after he looked at my portfolio, the first words out of his mouth was, it's unusual to see this level of draftsmanship in somebody your age. And Mrs. Enjetti, who was my girlfriend at the time, still, she was there, and I remember I just looked at her, I was like, it's going to happen for us, babe. And he's like, call me when you get out. He's like, here's my card, and I'm going to get you some work. And I called him, and it's just how it goes. Things come up, people get busy, like you can't make that stuff happen. Everything happens the way it's meant to happen. So when I see people getting frustrated by the lack of control and things not going their way, I always think of that quote, you want to, you know, make God laugh, you know, tell him your plans. And that's how it works, man, with everything, guys. Everything. When I came into Comicsgate, I was like, well, I'm never going to go do Springball again. Here we are. What's up, Benjamin Soto? How are you doing, man? So yeah, the links to Springball and Nosfero are pinned not pinned in the chat, but they're at the top of the description for this stream. So make sure you go and check them out. This stuff is for the Nosfero Oxidized Edition, and as I mentioned earlier, Andy Smith's LILINETH campaign is up and running, and in the independent creators section, you can back that book and you can go check that out, which is great. I've backed it like 3 times. I backed a couple different copies of it. Actually, I may have backed it. Have I backed it 4 times? I think I have 4 copies coming to me because I wanted to get the printed on newsprint edition, which are selling out fast. So if you've missed those, let me see if I can show you the thing I was working on for LILINETH. Is there a way to tastefully cover this up? I think there is. So there you go. There's a look at it. So I started doing this painting for fun the other day. I was looking at Robert McGinnis's work, and I just said, I'm going to do a painting. I found a great photo of a model. Amen. Amen. Amen, Mark. Amen. 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 I cannot say that enough, man. And I'm reminded of that all the time. And so yeah, so I started sitting here and I was going, maybe I can come up with something to do for it. And then I got an idea for a painting, and I just, scribbled it out on a canvas board, and then just started chipping away and just scribbling on it because I wanted to paint, a figure. Every now and again, it's I don't know how to describe it, but if you don't paint, and I've said this to young Eric Weathers, who's out there, I know, is that if you need to paint, you have to paint, regardless of what it's for. If you have work, if you have, all these different things you're doing, you may be even painting for your work, but I think you have to paint from life. I think you have to sit down with a model or a figure or, whatever it is, photo reference, whatever you have, and you need to work. And that is absolutely... Eric Weathers knows all about the shout out. So we shout out. That's what we do. Eric's killing me today, man. But yeah, Eric knows that once you get a taste for painting, like once you're introduced to it well, and I think that's one of my biggest gifts I had as a teacher was to introduce people to painting, because it was something I was afraid to do all the way up till my 20s, is when you introduce people to painting the right way. And I do believe there's a way to introduce people into painting that has worked for me for 20 years of my teaching career, so I'm a pretty firm believer in it. When you introduce people to painting, they suddenly just get a hunger for it, and they have to keep doing it. And so for me, trying to figure out things like, let's see what I can do here, trying to figure out things like, how can I do subtle color moves on flesh tone on a character that has very, very pale skin and that's a little bit of a creature? How do I put that stuff together, and how do I make it work? That's the challenge. That's the thing that makes it fun for me. And even doing fun things with the wing, where the wing's going to come around and it's going to hook onto, whatever these are, these panties or bikini bottom she has, and be pulling it out right there so that it's kind of like it's coming down and it's like a little sexy. That's the stuff that I do that kind of makes the painting stuff work for me. But as I was working on it, I really didn't want to, and it's because it was art. Yeah, I know, got to be very careful with this, right? Very careful. I wanted to make a painting. I wasn't interested in worrying about, censorship or any of that other stuff. So I sat down and I was just painting on it. And that's what you have to do as an artist. I do thumbnails, I do sketches, I do all of that stuff. But when I'm writing, and I think I talked about this a little bit in the Warlock interview, if you guys get a chance to check that out, Warlock Magazine, they are on, get a Post-it note. I really should, so I could work on it. I'm just a little worried about it pulling the paint up. That's my only concern, is if it pulled the paint up. I wonder if I have anything kicking around here. Let me see. That would be, I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing that ever happened. I do know how to paint, but so I can paint it back, but you never know. I wonder. This could go sideways, but then I would get out of a stream early, I could blame it on that. Let me see here. Paint on some pasties. Eric, what happened to you? You were such a lovely young man, and then you started painting and you became whatever this is. I don't know, but I'm not sure about it, man. I'm not sure about it. Let me see how I can do this. Everybody wants you to live dangerously, right? But then, when you get in trouble, you're going to be in trouble. Should I try that? Let me know. Give me some ones in the chat if you think I should see what I can do with this thing here. We'll have to see. How is this going to work? I'm just trying stuff. I don't know if this is going to work, but give me some ones if you want to see me do some figure work, and I'll see what I can come up with. And maybe you guys can see... Eesh. This is going to be... Ones. John's like, one. Exactly right. Well, you know what's so funny is here. Let me see what I can do here. And then you see Mo everybody comes out of the woodwork. One. Everybody wants, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Alrighty. I don't know if that's gonna hold. Alrighty. How's that? Does that work for y'all? I see some ones. I love how everybody comes out of the woodwork when I start doing this. When I show this. Tells you who our audience is. But you know what's so funny about that is that, you guys good with this? Let me know. Hit some ones in the chat. But this is the thing. People want to learn how to paint the figure. One of the things we've seen in the last, I don't know how many, days it's been or week it's been. Is that better? 42. Are you shouting out measurements or the answer? You let me know. I remember when I turned 42 and I was like, I finally arrived at the answer. And guys, remember, this is not just, I'm not just whistling Dixie here, okay? This is a painting of Andy Smith's character Lilith. If you guys, mods, if you could post a link to Lilith in the chat, I would appreciate it. Trying to help my brother Andy out from way back. He was, him and I had the most unlikely of life crossovers. My first professional job, and probably one of his first professional jobs. He did the cover, and I did the back cover on the book. And it was just a blast. So yeah, if you guys can imagine us meeting up in Comicsgate again. So let me see what I can do. We'll see, oh dear. We'll see how this goes. But I'm going to show you guys some stuff I do when I'm working with heavy body acrylics that Eric Weathers knows very well. He knows this stuff well. So if you guys are interested in how this stuff works painting-wise, I think Eric should get in here and start painting. And let me just get this real quick. Benjamin Soto here. Hail, Benjamin. I was the same in art school. I didn't want to mess with color painting. I tried it, enjoyed it. Spoke to Christopher Shy, and he convinced me to try tempera. I really enjoy the experimental aspect of it. Yes, and Hail, yeah, the experimental aspect of painting is the part that you never want to be divorced from. And you want to make sure that you've got that sense of play. And that is crucial to making work. So this right here is, Eric, I don't know what that was. I would if I could. I have no idea. Did I ask you, did I say something and I can't remember? That makes a lot of sense if I said something and I can't remember it. But let me know. But yeah, like when it comes to doing what I do, I'm a painter at heart even when I'm working on SPRINGBALL and I'm working in digital. And if you haven't yet, guys, back Nosfero, back SPRINGBALL, especially back Nosfero, because when that thing goes to print, I am going to be printing this entire space you see me working in when I do the wide shots in here is fulfillment. It's everything that you do. And it's crazy, man. It's like, but I do not print wild overprints because I have nowhere to put it. So I print the books, and if you want them, there's eBay, and on the off chance I have, some extras at some point, and they will be a lot more expensive when you get them from me. So that's a big one for me. Actually, that's really interesting, Rachel. I did not use chalk. Eric Weathers probably knows what I use, but maybe some folks in the chat do. Eric, what did I use to draw this white in on this? Let's see if Eric knows. We are having fun, guys. Let's paint. You know what I'm saying? Let's paint. And if you're just joining us, make sure you hit the like. And yes, for people who are wondering, if I am going to ever, and even this goes for Nosfero when I'm painting Nosfero, I got to a point in my work where I just decided that I didn't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God. Eric. Really? No. If you guys could see some of Eric in my texts, you'd die laughing. But I got to the point to where I don't want to paint a female figure not from reference. But Eric's like, no, I didn't paint it with my white privilege, Eric. You should know this now. Come on. I'm going to give the chat a little bit more time to guess what I did the white marks with. I painted it with Eric's white privilege. It's not a ridiculous term. Good God. Oh. When I hear some of the stuff that oh god, it just blows my mind. But don't even get me started on that. So what did I do it with? And that's the crazy part about, because it works great. It works great. Fortunately, it's just reference, honey, says Mopix. Fortunately, Mrs. Enjetti is an artist also, so she appreciates that when she hears profanity from my studio, the difficulty of getting the paint to do what you want it to do when you're painting a figure. Colored pencils, close, man. That's close. So here you go. Yeah, exactly. I'm a fourth white. That's true. Fourth Austrian. So this right here, this exactly white colored pencil, but very specific. White Crayola twistables. They are the best white pencil to sketch and draw with because they were designed for parents and kids. So they erase like a dream, and they also do not smear. You can erase them. You can erase them down to the white of the page. Well, almost, depending on how hard you press. But you can erase them incredibly well, unlike a waxier kind of colored pencil that's more oil-based. And they coat great. So I use this, and if I want more, all I do is rotate it. And you know how colored pencils are when you sharpen them and they break? This is the stuff right here. So a Crayola Twistables white pencil. Now, I buy the whole color range just to get the ones that come with the white, but I've also got a sepia I use. I sometimes use a black one when I'm sketching, which I've got right here. These are great pencils, but I use a white Crayola Twistable, and it works fantastic. So if you've never used one before, do give it a shot. I highly recommend them. Highly recommend them. Just great stuff. So let's see what we want to do here. So, not a SpongeBob reference, but over here with the bikini bottom, so to speak, I'm going to have that claw, because she has these little claws on her wings, and that's what's going to be pulling the bikini strap down. But what I was saying before is I don't like to paint and more or less even draw at this point, unless I'm doing a layout or something like that. I don't like to paint the female figure out of my head. I just find it's just reductive for me. I don't think that it ever captures what makes a person and what makes something attractive. You still have to do so much work to get that reference to be a painting. But if you start with just something out of your head, or the standard anatomy stuff, you miss things. And I actually, when I talk about painting anatomy, the things I think about the most are things like the way light hits skin and what that does. So it's not even just a question of where the anatomy is, it's what the anatomy is composed of. And so, I don't know, that stuff doesn't really speak to me. And so when I'm working, as you can see, there's the composition. You have to have, an illustrator's sensibility. You have to be able to put the thing together without reference, or your photo reference will never really work. Not that you shouldn't do a lot of life painting and life drawing, but it's just, you do need to have something. So I found this model that I rather liked on this site that does these incredible turnarounds. So they get their models, they put them on a circular platform, and then they put them in a pose, and then they photograph them as they rotate it. So not only do you get the pose, you get the pose from every angle, which is always the problem with photo reference. You always get photo reference, and it's like, that's the pose I need, but I need it from that angle. There, you now have about 18 to, 20 photos of the pose in rotation with lighting, which is great. Real life reference tones down Sean's triple Z cup instincts. That's right. Well, it's more the hips, man. It's more the hips for me, but everybody's got their thing. Yep. Let me see here, John. There are two types of pants. One that is fed via an open, and the second is fed some injection plants. I totally feel like I'm missing something there, but we'll figure it out. Yeah. So this for me is when I'm working. The thing I'm looking for is how do I bring that kind of energy to the painting. So I found this model on this site that is fantastic. I think the name of their company is Art Models, but I don't know what their website address is. And since there's nude figures on it, you'll have to put that together yourself. But it's a really great site. They have really great models, and they have models of all kinds. I don't like every model, but not every model works for me. But I have a couple that I use, and this model right here just was in a pose that I liked. Now, what I wanted to do with this painting while I was working is I wanted it to be, where the heck did I put that tube of paint? I know it's here. Oh, there it is. I need my dioxazine purple. But when I was working on this stuff, and I was working on this painting, the thing for me was I wanted to do a little bit of an homage to what I like about Robert McGinnis, in addition to what I love about Alphonse Mucha and Frank Frazetta and the people who usually influence my stuff. And always, well, Mucha will always be there, right? Oh, Rachel used to insulate pipes for oil fields. Very nice, Rachel. Awesome. We're just talking nerdy. Well, listen, man. People talking nerdy is that's the stuff of life, man. Gotta love it. So hail, Rachel. So when I'm working on something like this, I always wanted to kind of like think of a challenge that I'd like to do. So if you don't know, Robert McGinnis did this thing when he was working, where he would take photo reference of the model and he wanted to make them really tall and thin. Now, when I say tall and thin, I'm not talking about regular tall and thin. I mean, he wanted to make them incredibly stylized so that it doesn't even seem practical. So what he would do is he would take photo reference. He'd have models come to the studio and take photo reference, and there's a great video that actually shows his process that I think I was sharing with Weathers not long ago. And he has models come to the studio, and when they come to the studio, he photographs them, and then he takes the plate that he photographed them on, and he projects it onto his board. Now, he still has to draw the thing, but he angles the board he angles the board so that it projects and elongates the figure naturally in the projection. Then he corrects it. So what I did was a variation on that. I took my model and I brought her into Photoshop, and I just elongated her body so I could play around with that Robert McGinnis look. And that was sort of the challenge, because I need to do sketches between doing those finishes and the things that I do from life just to recharge. Unfortunately, what I like to do to relax is also what I do for work, which can be very tough sometimes, because you get a little bit burnt out. I know some people have other forms of recreation, but I draw to think, and even like it's just always happening in my head, or I do this kind of thing, and it's crazy, man. Mark's Music Obsession says, seen a few oil fields myself. My nephew is a petroleum engineer. Very nice. For P66. Used to work for ExxonMobil. Very nice, man. Let me see here. Yeah, you got to insulate those pipes, Lord knows. Let me see here. So, yeah. And so, yeah, when I saw LILINETH as a character, I thought this is a really cool opportunity to just help get eyes on this book from my man Andy. And Andy had also done a drawing for me, a SPRINGBALL drawing, and posted it on X, which was just a cool thing to do. So I thought, yeah, this will be a fun opportunity for me to do something similar, and sort of play around with it. Plus, with these paintings are, they always sell, so it's I can always use them for that as well when people want to buy a painting. But first, I want to make something that I think is solid, and I was working on Lloyd Burton's dragon painting the other day too with my acrylics, and so this is a good way for me. It's not so much to loosen up as it is to engage. I don't know if I think when I'm working, I'm always trying to be as present as I possibly can be, and that goes for literally everything. That's one of the things that kind of frustrates me when I can't stop thinking about work, which is usually something I'm I'm experiencing. Like, I was doing layouts in InDesign for the Nosfero Oxidized Edition, and then doing the same for SPRINGBALL, and I just needed to give my eyes a rest. But I'm always going to be thinking about work, always. It's just how I am. I know a lot of you guys are probably that way too, but when you're painting, I would encourage all of you to work. Just for those of you guys, if you have any technical questions or you're wondering about this, the thing about using heavy body acrylics is heavy body acrylics have a high content of opacifier in them. An opacifier is the thing that makes the painting coat. Or sorry, makes the paint coat. And you want that. It doesn't mean it can only go opaque. As you see, I'm using water as a medium. I don't use anything else because it will allow me to water the paint down if I want to do something that's more washy. And then if I want to do something that really coats, then I can just step on the gas. And that's the thing that I'm always working on when I'm doing this kind of work. So that's why I suggest people use paint with really good opacifier in it, because you can always make the thing less opaque, but you can't take a translucent paint that's got very little pigment in it and make it have more coating power. That's never going to work, you know? And so that's really what it comes down to. Mo Biggs is cracking me up. Combining hibity with jibbity can produce a chemical reaction. I've heard about that. I've heard many things about that it can cause that. So everybody be careful. Be careful with that. God, when you guys are talking about that, I keep thinking about the Ross Can't Flirt episode of Friends. He starts talking to the pizza delivery girl about gas. I don't know why that makes me laugh so much, but it did. Everybody has a friend like that. He does not know how to flirt. Everyone's had that person. Some people have been that person. There we go. Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be really fun to turn the brush. Let's see if I can get a better angle on it. Oh, it's Mo Biggs' birthday today. Happy birthday, Mo Biggs. Where are you, Mo Biggs? There we go. How old are you? You don't have to tell me how old you are, Mo Biggs, unless you want to. But happy birthday to Mo Biggs. Mo Biggs, since it's your birthday, I'm going to play some cheerleaders for you. This is for you, Mo Biggs. Happy birthday. Let me see if I can actually... Let me see... Whoa, let's see what I can do. Well, we'll just do this one first and see if it works. Charge! Hail, Mo Biggs. Happy 46th birthday. I've got you by a couple of years. Not many, but I'm in the mix there. But you're with us. It's good to have you with us, and many happy returns. 46 more for you, my friend. That's what I'm recommending. And hail. Happy birthday, my friend. So here you go. And now, this is the fun stuff you can do with heavy body acrylics. Let me let you get a little bit closer here, get a better angle on it. You can let the paint sort of slide and move around. And just let things happen. You see how the color is breaking in there really nice? That's the fun stuff. Yes, indeed. Happy birthday, Mo Biggs. I appreciate it. Well, of course, man. Happy birthday, Mo Biggs, and many happy returns, my friend. Let me see here. Nice, Mo. I've got you by 10. I'm 56. That's right. Mark's Music Obsession. Hail. My brother. My brother. Having fun today. So, yeah, when I look at people creating comics and making work, I had a conversation with my wife my wife! Can't resist. I had a conversation with my wife about AI art the other day. And we talked about, continued it today. And I said, the thing about AI art is we've had AI art forever. It's what happens when you have artwork by consensus, artwork by committee, and all of that kind of stuff. And I go, there's a difficult thing that is incredibly hard. It's not romance for traditional media. It's not fear of AI. Believe me, I could not be less afraid of AI art, because to me, I think hopefully AI becomes smart enough to decide I don't want to do artwork because it's too hard and it's kind of a pain. You know, I want AI to be smarter than that. But I could say this. Think of how many amazing painters and realists and artists there have been that are really good, incredibly solid. And yet there's one artist, one pop star, one person who has that certain je ne sais quoi, whatever the heck you want to call it. And they're the one that everybody sort of reacts to. That's something that artists have been, let's just say artists who struggle with that concept and can't accept that have been driving themselves mad with it forever. And so when I say to you, I want to use photo reference whenever I paint the female figure, it's precisely because of that. Yes, I can draw a female figure out of my head if I have to, but that's not the point. I want to make something that is specific. It's a time and a place. I want to find, the right model that I want to work from, the right photo of that model, the right way, the light on that day, was doing something that was, interesting. That's what I want to do when I sit down at my desk to do work. And if you look at Nosfero, and if you backed Nosfero when you get that book, I can assure you that what you're going to see is on every single one of those figures, there will be, and on certain ones in particular, you will see where I used reference to bring something that was just a little bit specific to it, a little bit specific about the way the light hits human form. And that's what makes doing this work so fun. Yep, Shanth painted her in her birthday suit. That's right, because he's instinctively knew that today was your birthday. You're absolutely right, Mo. I knew it was your birthday. This is for you. But if you've never worked from a figure, this is I was in here working, and I started laughing, and my wife goes, what are you laughing about? And I said, you know what these photos, these model photos that I'm working from allow, that you can never do with the model in real life? She goes, what? And I said, flip them upside down. So a lot of times to paint, to get the angles I want, and just to examine my work, I flip my painting upside down, and I flip my reference upside down. Well, with a photo of a model, you just rotate that canvas, and you can flip it upside down and get a much better sense by tricking your eye on how the angles work. It's such a great resource, and it's possible because of the technology we have. But I think the technology at its best should help us, or we should be able to use it as artists to get us closer to life, not further away. And I don't think we need to get closer to the simulation, because the real thing is better than any simulation. And I don't know why that is. That's not a romantic statement I'm making right there. I don't know why that is. It's really strange and fascinating, but it's all a part of the alchemy of work. If it was possible to get there through an iterative piece of software, then believe me, the human mind is more than capable of, and you've seen it, people trying to follow Michelangelo or Da Vinci or Alphonse Mucha by looking at their work and just trying to piece it together. It never works, and we don't know why that doesn't work. Well, potentially, John, potentially. So one of the things you'll see me do whenever I'm painting a figure like this, when I paint someone with normal flesh tone, one of the aspects of it that I try to do is you want to put, if you want to make it have a sense of life and have a sense of warmth to it, you want to put your cooler colors and your chalkier colors in the highlights, and you want to put your warms in the shadows. Well, in this case, I'm doing a little bit of a mixture, because she's got this kind of ghoulish, undead sort of quality. What I'm looking to do is to put those highlights into not the highlights. Some of the warms into the highlights and the cools into the shadow strategically, so that it kind of does the opposite, and it gives you this slightly off sense to this character. And so that was one of the things. I just put my finger down in the paint right there. Do you see that? I like that. I'm going to leave that. Hail, Stephen Rockwood. I knew if I started painting this, it'd be like ringing a dinner bell. It is great to see you, my friend. How are you? And hail, brother, channel member. So right here, I love when things like that happen. What did Bob say? Everybody in the chat, what did Bob say? When things like that happen, you just do not want to fight the painting, because sometimes something's happened there that someone's going to look at and go, oh man, why did he think to leave that there? And you just go, oh, well. Everybody has those moments when they're painting. The trick is to be one of the people who doesn't eradicate those moments. And that's what you're paying for. When people buy my paintings and they buy my books and they buy my work, they're not paying for me to do everything correct. They're paying for me to skillfully and artistically and creatively create a sense of, energy, and create something that is aesthetic. And aesthetics is not an eradication of ugliness. It's a harmony of incongruities. And that harmony of the incongruous is what gives it life. And you just got to make sure that stuff happens. You know what I mean? What's up, Bruce Campbell's channel member? It's great to see you. Happy little accident. You guys know I've got to head out, but nice work, Sean. Thank you, Mo Biggs, and have a happy birthday. Happy 46th birthday to you, my friend. And everybody in the chat, if you haven't yet, please say happy 46th birthday to Mo Biggs. It is Mo Biggs' birthday today. I appreciate you, Mo Biggs, and it's great to see you. And congratulations on your birthday. Many happy returns, my friend. So look, I'm going to let that area where the paint is still a little bit wet right there, because I mix the paint so that I can kind of understand what it's going to do. So it's a little bit washy, so because there's so much water content in it, and I'm just going to let it do its thing. Just kind of let it do its thing. Again, it's working on a canvas panel right here. Opens up the door to make some really interesting stuff happen. And I want the colors sometimes to be really muted and really, sometimes muddy, but sometimes in this case muted, because I'm working with these kind of more pastel, chalky sort of colors. And then I really want to go for bright notes, because people like Basil Gogos and Frank Frazetta on some levels, but really Basil Gogos is the guy, would do things with color that would just bend your mind, and that's what made it fun. What's up, Mechanoid? How are you doing? Happy birthday to Mo Biggs. Yes, indeed. Happy birthday to Mo Biggs from Bruce Campbell's Chin. I love it when you guys come together and do it. Yep, the best artists make their mistakes work for the piece. 100%. Yeah, and that's the trick. When to leave it, when to get rid of it. That's what takes, decades to learn and figure out. That's why I always think that what you guys are getting when you back these books, particularly backing the books and getting them mailed from us and signed by us and shipped to you in many of these cases, what you're getting is an experience that is unique to your time and place. It's your copy of the book. I will pack and handle every single book that comes out of this studio space. So who knows how long that's going to last. If I ever find a situation that works for me where the stuff is getting published somewhere, I'd be all too happy to do that. But I got to make sure that I can maintain, the creative control I want to have and get things to look as close to what I want them to look like, because that really matters to me, the quality of what you guys get. But right now is the time and place where you guys are there when it's actually happening, when the stuff is actually happening. Let me see if I can tilt this just a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more when I'm working, because it'll give you a little bit more of a sense of where things are on it. But I want to see, there's so many things I want to see, but I'd like to see more people painting and more people getting into making artwork with your hands. Working with your hands and making things that are actually physical is incredibly rewarding, and I think it's important. Yep, every copy packed and shipped with Sean's love and care. Yeah, no kidding. And my wife was watching me ship out some of those sketches from Comicsgate Kings because I did more work on them and I wanted to get them right, and then I was like, I got to get these things out. And she was watching me work on it, and one of the funny things that came up when she was watching me pack it is I have these very hard cardboard boards that are actually hardcover book boards. And I had my printer that I used cut down a bunch of them for me, so that if I have to send something thin like a sketch, I'm actually using hardcover book stock, like textbook and hardcover book stock, in order to make sure that the sketches that I'm sending out have cardboard on either side of them. Then they're bagged and boarded, and then they have book board in there with them. They're bagged and boarded again. So I try to make sure that everything that comes out of this place is quality and is in great shape when you guys get a hold of it. So yeah, that's an important part of it for me. So let's see here. Let's see if we can maybe mess around with this a little bit and kick this a little bit. Because we've got these cools here, I want to mess around with a little bit of a yellow ochre right in there, or yellow oxide I should say, if you're keeping score what colors I'm using. And I just want to put that there because it's going to make and it's looking a little bit more contrasty than it is on the board, but you get the idea. In some ways that's probably helpful for you guys to see what I'm doing. But by using a complementary color, and yellow is the opposite of purple on the color wheel, it's just going to push this thing out ever so slightly. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be, what's up, Alpha channel member? It is great to see you. How are you doing, my friend? I'm painting, and I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. And so I'm going to go over that Crayola twistable pencil sketch I did right there. That's where that white is. That's the Crayola twistable that you guys can see right there. And I'm going to go in and kind of layer in some of this yellow oxide And I will probably knock this back several times on the way to whatever this thing, becomes, wherever the painting goes. The main thing is to do something that, and this is important as well, is to do something that I can sell. And people do, you might be surprised, like paintings of female fantasy characters. That's a interesting thing, isn't it? We'll have to ponder that. So by dropping that in there, look at what that does to the cools. It starts to push them forward. And that's really what you want to do. And right now, the background is coming forward a bit because you've got just so much more cool area and then black where it isn't present. But as I grab a little bit more of that yellow oxide and I start to work that in there, you're going to see the change happen. And that's what starts to really bring things together. And it's the same thing whether I'm working in gouache or I'm working in acrylic. I always have to think this way. When I was doing the CYBERFROG trading card, I was trying to really get that nice, I don't know what I'm looking for here, but I wanted to get that really nice old school illustrative style to it. And, because that painting ended up in somebody's house, in somebody's private collection, you want it to be good. And it was the same thing when I was doing the Ghost of the Badlands gallery piece, which was wild. That was a fun commission, actually, to work on that, because I've never done a Western illustration before, but I love Western movies. I've done some Western paintings. And so to do a Western comic illustration was just a lot of fun. But do you see how it starts to... God, it's so contrasty. Let me see if I can adjust the gamma on this. I don't know if I can because the phone is so... can be fussy. But let me see if I can adjust the gamma just a little bit there. Oh, that's actually a little bit better. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, it's going to make me a little bit more contrasty, but let's see if that helps us to get the painting where it needs to be. There you go. And let me know in the chat if I miss anything, because, whenever I have my head down painting sometimes. Yes, oh my God, did you hear that joke when I was on Andy's stream? It was beautiful. Andy and I got to the punchline. I had the punchline set up, but Andy caught it before I could even deliver it. But yes, it's because she has great genes. Yeah, what is that? God, people are nuts. People are absolutely nuts. It's so funny, man. That cracked me up. I'm like, you do know, like, the rest of the world is looking at us and like, what's the problem? We are the only, one of the few, massively successful countries that's not an ethno-state, So maybe we could just chill out just a little bit. That was what was so funny. Okay, speaking of things that are funny to me and interesting. Did you notice something interesting about a comic convention from 2002? I better not get these in the paint or Mrs. is going to... What am I saying? She's been with me for 25 years. She knows what she's getting into. Right? Look. It's an incredibly emaciated, I'll give you that, Indian, Austrian, Puerto Rican comic book artist. 2002. Had an easier time getting supported and getting into Comicsgate than I did in the industry too, but it wasn't for any other reason other than that's the way things shake out sometimes. Alright? That's life. What do we have here? Oh my gosh. There's a woman at a comic convention while I'm signing in 2002, and what's next to her? There's a man, I think that was her boyfriend if I'm not mistaken. It's been 26 years. In a wheelchair. Huh. Was that allowed at comic conventions? I get so mad when people lecture us on what we were like at comic conventions. There's a moron. There were even morons allowed at comic conventions. Look at this. This must have been one of my customers. Holy cow. It was a white male member of the patriarchy buying comics from me and being enthusiastic about my work. Will wonders never cease? Here I am being attacked. Look at that. Terrible. Terrible. All kinds of folks have always been reading comics because we love comics and supporting comics. Even when you look in the background, you can just see there's so many different kinds of people, man. I don't know about this woman, but, what are you going to do? Oh, look. You basically have like 3 different kinds of people represented in one photograph here. What were we talking about? One thing, comics. Because those were the good days. And that's what we talked about. Nobody came over, and they were like, so what's this character's story? Nobody came over to me during this convention and was like, so I noticed you're brown. You know? It's the weird, that drives me nuts, guys. Back Springball and back Nosfero the Crypt Walker. Come on, people. If you haven't yet, back it. If you've backed it already, back it twice, man. We gotta fix this stuff. Yeah, women at comic conventions, shutter the... yes, exactly. Women at comic conventions, yes. Had it good for a couple of decades. We sure as hell did, man. Yep. We absolutely did. Yeah, we have a total sense of humor. Oh, Emo asked a question. Let me go back here and see what that question was. Oh, my lord. Oh, gosh. How far back is it, man? Oh, my mother inquires about the woman you're painting. So the woman I'm painting, the character or the model? Let me know which one. Let me know which one, which question you have. About the model that I'm painting or about the character that I'm painting. And then I can know where to go from that, from there. Well, let me tell you this. The majority of the students I taught, because of the breakdown of college, increasingly these days, by the way, were women as well. And so I don't know what people have been talking about, but I just know that it bothers me when people try to rewrite my history, because I was there for it. I don't care. None of us care. Here's what I'm painting. I'm painting, in general, the smallest percentage of human beings, which is, I'm trying to paint wildly attractive people for you guys to buy. A man called Plush up in here saying that first... oh, shoot, my glasses fell. Sorry, Plush. My glasses fell and I couldn't see a damn thing. That first photo was the prime... oh, shoot. Shoot, it just jumped on me. Was the prime image vibes, even though Springball was Dark Horse? No, it wasn't Dark Horse. It was just me, man. I don't know what that means, but maybe. Russell Tyson, what's up? Joining late, Black Velvet on canvas. Oh, that would be awesome. It's a black canvas panel. Howdy, says Russell Tyson. Everybody saying hello. Likely the character she's since walked, but was asking. So this character is Andy Smith's character, LILINETH. And LILINETH is a book that just launched the other day. If you guys haven't backed it, it has crossed 15K. I don't know where it is right now, but mods, if you could post the link, it's in the description. It's at the top of the independent creators links there. So please do post it, mods. But this is Andy Smith's character, LILINETH. And the model is a model that I use from one of the art models sites, or actually from a site that I believe the business is called Art Models. And it is... a model that they have a rotation of on there, and so I picked the pose, and a la Robert McGinnis, I stretched the figure out because I wanted to do something that was very McGinnis-esque to make this character, because this character has, to me, a little bit of a Wraith-like quality. And I wanted to kind of lean into that a little bit. But look at how, right here, as we do this stuff, those warms, and it's basically purple and yellow ochre, because I like to get muddy color to make chalkier color, which is mixed with black and white pop. So that's one of the keys to doing this stuff. Can LILINETH beat Lady Death in a mud wrestling contest? I don't know, so we may have to see it. What did the guy say? Oh, if I recall correctly, gotcha. No, that was self-published by us, insanely. Can you believe that? I was trying to make Comicsgate stuff happen before Comicsgate was there. And I tell you, it's much better with Comicsgate. Much better. A million times better. I mean, I was just, I was thinking the other day, like watching, AJ from the Y-Files and folks like that who have found all of the things that we can do. It's just a question of time. I've never worked, and I work insanely hard. I've never worked as hard as I work now, and I love it. I love it. It is incredibly overwhelming and exhausting, but I have folks around me who I can actually, share the experience with, which is very cool. You don't get that a lot of places, and a lot of times, and we have it right now. And just look at the fun we're having with that. The values are the same. Like, how do I make this thing pop more? But first, I want to solve. Yes, Viva la Liberté is the essence of CG, 100%, man. 100%. You're absolutely right. Let me see here. So you guys can sort of see. Let's zoom in on the color there. See how the paint is still wet? and it's just kind of doing things inside of there. And that's what I love about it, man. That's what makes it cool. And, you know, it's every now and again, the way that I actually do use AI for one thing, which is I use AI and social media and Apple Photos to confirm whether I've got a likeness. So when I do a portrait of somebody and it's somebody that's in my photos, and then Apple says, "Is this so-and-so?" That's when I know I've got a likeness. And that's when I know I've got some accuracy going. So yeah, that's the trouble with painting realistically. What is this black paper, Shanth? Well, there is black paper I use, which is Strathmore mixed media paper, which is great. I have a ton of that. But I'm actually working on a black canvas panel right now. And I like to work on a black canvas panel sometimes because I like to, you know, move from light to dark sometimes and dark to light. Now, when I'm doing watercolor and gouache, I do tend to prefer working on like a toned tan or a white paper. But in this case, what I like doing is, because I'm working in acrylic, I just want to have something. Look at that. Look at that, just little fun stuff that occurs. See, if I do this long enough, I'm going to start talking like Bob Ross, guys. It's really, I don't know. It's impossible to avoid the Bob Rossness. I was listening to an old Art Bell story, and I heard a guy who called in who was a prison guard, and he was talking about a ghost that he saw at this, federal institution that he worked at, or state institution he worked at. And he said something that I haven't heard since I left the South, and I love, there's no equivalent to it. I heard it on Art Bell, and I just got this huge smile on my face. He goes, "So I look up at the window behind us, and in one of the windows that we just come from, this abandoned building, is a little girl. And I looked over at the guys who were with me, and I said, 'Hey, guys, look up there.'" I love that, man. Took me right back home. Look up there. You see that? Yeah, man. We've all had a look up our moment. So if you know one of the artists I was showing the other day, who's another influence when I'm doing this kind of stuff, who is Bob Peak. Bob Peak did a lot of really cool stuff with his paints. Just letting them run, letting them do things. And I love doing that with acrylics and heavy body acrylics. Just letting the water and the pigment do things, because the opacifier is so strong and the paint content is so strong. You can work with it like this. And as I do this, it's going to start to recontextualize the wings, which up until this point have been light on the dark of the page. But as I move this value up, then I'm going to have some options where I can put some highlights on there, but I can even put some darker shadows because the ground is going to be much more of a middle tone. And I just want, the paint to play. And this is stuff like, it's funny. When I do a sketch or I do a painting or I do something like this, one of the things that it is for me that makes it exciting is that I can sell these things. People like paintings. People want paintings more and more. Especially, man, it's weird, man. Comicsgate's crazy that way. But I can't stress to you enough, because it would have been alien to me when I was younger. What it does to own a piece of artwork. This is your piece of artwork. That's where it is. And I love when people get their paintings. When I sold the Ninja Turtle piece, my wife is very sweet. She forces me to read kind responses. Otherwise, I'll get just stuck in all the other stuff. But she goes, "I just wanted to read this to you." And it was the gentleman who bought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles painting, and he had the loveliest things to say about it, that it was his new favorite piece of artwork in his house, and he just was so happy with how it came out when I finished it. And that stuff just... that stuff is just wonderful as an artist. And the same thing goes when you guys get your copies of the books and Nosfero and everything like that. I love doing this stuff. There's so many folks who do things that I don't do that improve my quality of life. And if you're somebody who loves artwork and it's not something you do, it's something you enjoy, I can assure you that getting yourself a piece of original artwork is a wonderful thing to do for yourself. Something that you wake up every day, you see it on the wall, and it makes you smile, and you go, that is art. Like, that is somebody's time handcrafting that. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Take the compliment, Mrs. Enjetti since forever. Yep, she says that to me all the time, man. Yeah, oh, the Bob Ross thing. I love doing the Bob Ross impression. Mark's Music Obsession says, better Bob Ross than an anime accent. Yes, you're absolutely right. I do my best. I do my best, guys. You know it. But yeah, like I just, this is stuff right here that I'm going in. I'm almost, I don't want to say I'm tracing it, but kind of, I'm following it. This is something that the water and the pigment did, and I'm bringing it about. You know, I'm just sort of saying, okay, well, what happens there? Let's look at what you had to say, Paint. Let's look what you had to say on this canvas here. Believe it or not, I do something somewhat similar with digital, but it's hard to explain it. I mean, this is sort of the next level phase of things. When I'm teaching Eric Weathers painting stuff, elements of this start to creep in, but you really need to do that initial work to get certain kinds of competency, of very difficult, I don't want to even make remotely light of it, competency where you can start to really see things. Like I have Eric looking at people like Isaac Levitan, for heaven's sake. Isaac Levitan, genius falls short of his landscape paintings. He's a Russian tonalist landscape painter, and Levitan set the bar for landscape painting, okay? He will take the Pepsi challenge with any person that you put next to him. Do you guys see what I mean? What's happening there? I don't know exactly what that is or why that is, but I really do say it's why I have such an appreciation of the folks who manufacture and make paint, because that's something that they're doing that allows for the paint to do that. It allows for the paint to kind of have these moments happen. And these are the flourishes that when people wake up and they, go out to see the painting that they've bought or the books that they crack open that I do, that are painted, this is the thing that kind of makes them have this this exhilarating aesthetic quality. And just to define aesthetic, because I know you guys hear that word a lot now, it's actually become pretty popular with them kids. Aesthetic means to wake something up, to excite the senses. And we know this because the opposite of aesthetic is anesthetic. An anesthetic experience dulls, numbs, and puts you to sleep. So think about when people say aesthetic, it doesn't mean just beautiful. It means exhilarating. It wakes you up. It's this moment that just where you're transfixed by something and it just captures that sense of awe. And so that's the stuff that I love to just let happen in a painting, because it's all about the aesthetic experience, and I saw the aesthetics in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book. I see it in a Isaac Levitan painting. I see it in a Robert McGinnis painting as well, or illustration, depending on if it's a poster. I see it everywhere. It can happen a million different places. But you know it when you see it. And if you're one of those folks who understands it, the job is to share it and to get it out there. And that's what I'm doing with Springball and Nosfero the Crypt Walker. Link for those books is at the top of the description. But man, can you believe this? I was so afraid of painting when I was younger. So afraid of painting. I always tell that, like, people, if you're watching this, and you're saying to yourself, I could never paint. This, and maybe that's true. Maybe you can never paint. I mean, technically you can always paint, but maybe not whatever it is that you're thinking about it. But let's just look at it this way. When I was in my mid-20s, maybe even more so than that, I had just started painting, and I would have told you when I was young, I'm never going to be able to paint. I don't even understand it. I don't even understand it. Yep, that looks like a small dragon now. See, you start to see things in it. And that's the fun, man. That's the fun of this stuff, is you start to see things happening in it. We got 89 people watching between X and YouTube. Thank you guys for being here. Share this stream out. Let people know what we're doing here, because I think people like this. At the end of the day, I think people just need a break sometimes from thinking and watching other people. That's all it is for me. This is just craftsmanship. This is whatever that thing is, and we chat, we paint, and we have a good time on this channel. My name is Shanth Enjeti, by the way, if you're new here. I'm a comic book illustrator. I paint from the heart of Lovecraft country. I love Halloween and horror and spooky stuff, But my comic books are much more horrors heroes is what I call it. So it's painting horrors heroes in the heart of Lovecraft country. I love the Universal Monsters pictures. I love Hammer horror films. I love monster movies. I love it all. That's pretty much what my studio is. And I love the classic monsters. And so my comic books and my artwork is very H.P. Lovecraft and very much in the gothic sort of vein as well. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I do a lot of artwork and painting on this channel. Lots of fun stuff. And I can tell you this, the folks in my chat are some of the best around. And I really do think you'll have a great time hanging out here. You know? Look at that, guys. Look at the crazy stuff paint does. How fun is that? What's up, Robble13, channel member? Yes, indeed, Nosfero and He Dog in the house, and I love seeing that dog. When I was updating the credits today, I saw the dog, and it put a big smile on my face, man. Loved seeing that. I love when you guys share stuff like that. That's what makes it fun. Let me see here. And again, I just want to say thank you again. If those of you guys missed it, Warlock Magazine, I sent them just a fun illustration of Springball doing an homage to Wizard Magazine, which I know was a big inspiration for them. And they reached out to me, and the parody cover became a real cover. So the parody cover said, interview with Shanth Enjeti, and they said, let's do an interview and let's make this cover legit. So Springball is on the cover of the latest issue of Warlock Magazine. Had a blast doing that, and this is what it is. Guys, get out there and just be enthusiastic and do things. You never know where it's going to go. You just don't. And I had no idea. I don't even remember the first time I actually reached out to Ethan or anybody in Comicsgate. But I'm pretty sure it was just to say, hey, man, you know, good job. Like, it's so funny, man. Lauren, Mrs. Enjeti laughs about this because I do this with everybody. You know, I'm just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And people talk to me, and she's like, do you know that person? I'm like, no, I don't. I just sort of started to, maybe it's a Southern thing, I don't know, but I just started, struck up a conversation. You know, it's, you can't take the Chattanooga out of the boy, that's for sure. It's definitely in there. Look at that stuff. But look, I mean, just look at what the paint does. You know, Shanth, oh, sorry, my glasses fell. A second possibility, one that, of the several head sketches I have coming, you do have some coming, other than the creature, of course, is the Rocketeer, somehow, maybe. I'll see what I can do. I've never drawn the Rocketeer for anything, but I might do it for you. Because, I mean, Dave Stevens, as you know, if you look behind me, you can see the Rocketeer poster. He's, like, sacred ground to me, man. I love Dave. Dave saw my artwork at San Diego. Another example of these kind of, you guys can't let the near misses get you down. The near misses are more painful than the total failures. Dave Stevens saw my work at San Diego, and he says, for God's sake, he goes, go over to Mike Richardson, show him your work, and say to take another look at it. You should be working in the industry. I love this stuff. He signed me a really lovely postcard that said, to Shanth, good luck, Dave Stevens. And he was just so enthusiastic about my work. I just went there for a critique. I was like, Dave Stevens, if I could get Dave Stevens to look at my work and tell me how to fix it. He was so positive. And you know who else was really positive about my work, and I've heard nothing but horror stories about him, was John Byrne. John Byrne saw my work at Dragon Con in Atlanta, and I went up to his podium, and John Byrne was like, was really complimentary. He said something to me, I would not believe this if I wasn't there. He's like, you've got something here that almost nobody has. I'm like looking at him, and everyone told me, when you go up to John Byrne, he's going to tear your head off. You know, he's on this little podium. This would have been in 1994, I think, maybe, or 95. Maybe it was 95, whenever he was at Dragon Con. Could not believe it. I was like, and I came back and they said, what did he say to you? It was at Guy Jin at that time, so I think I went to Brian. I said, I just met John Byrne. He's like, what did he say? Because he really liked my work. And they all looked at me like, what? People lie about John Byrne, says Stephen Rockwood. I have no stories about John Byrne other than that one. Yeah, John, it was awesome. Oh, cool. Robble13, channel member, says, just finished watching An American Werewolf in London with my son. He was amazed at all the old school Rick Baker practical effects. They absolutely hold up, and they're incredible. Rick Baker is another person where, when we no longer have Rick Baker with us here on Earth, and he ascends to heaven, I believe, the monster heaven, that's going to be what we in New England refer to as a dark day. Because Rick Baker has given us so much. So much to the world of cinema, so much to the world of monsters, so much in terms of inspiring generations of special effects artists, and he is still crushing it with his personal work. If you have not seen Rick Baker's Instagram, holy cow, man. That guy is just a lion. Man, he's a lion of an artist. Yep, I'm glad they were both nice to you. That's great. Yeah, I really have had a lot of great comic experiences in the industry. I mean, it's yeah, I don't know what that's. I have had some rough ones too. Let me be really clear about that, because I don't want to say it was all gravy and all easy. It wasn't. I've had some really crummy experiences too, of course, but that's not the kind of thing. I take that for granted that that's going to happen. You know, in Comicsgate, like if you had told me when I came in here, I didn't know any of these folks at all. At all. I knew nobody here. And if people think that it's like, you've got to know everybody from the industry, or you got to know everybody from this, people that I've known, like actually kind of known, I don't even want to say known, for just a couple of years, like John Malin, for example, he's done a cover for me. He launched and closed out SPRINGBALL. I've done work with him on logos and things like that. Really got to know the guy. Shane did the 30-day closeout for me. Ethan launched the Nosfero Second Chance campaign. All of these guys are just fellow artists that I met coming from a completely different background. It's how it seems to go, man. It's how it seems to go. Oh, man, the late George Perez. What a genius. Rachel Brinkley says, I met George Perez in 2012 at Calgary Fan Expo, but he was too busy sketching to care about me. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry to hear that. George Perez, another legend, man. God, that was crushing. Crushing to lose him. So much. That's the thing about these paintings and about originals. When you buy original artwork from people, every single artist that you see only has a certain amount of paintings, sketches, as they have a certain amount of time on this planet. And if you have the opportunity to snag one, and I always say this, when I spend money on things, artwork or anything else, don't worry about like the value of the thing, although sometimes that's going to happen. Like things will go up in value. But buy artwork and collect artwork that makes you smile, that you love. I have artwork that I don't know if it will ever be of value to anybody that I've bought, but I love it because the artist and the piece, and it means something to me. And whenever I do a painting, rest assured, whenever I do an illustration, for anything, it means something to me. Every single job, every single thing that I do, I try to find a way in, to make it something of value and to make it something that I'm excited about and I'm proud of. So let's zoom out a little bit here. Let me zoom out for those of you guys who are coming in late and haven't had a chance to see what I'm working on here. This is a painting. It's going to be a little blown out just because it's the nature of the camera. But this is a painting I'm doing of Andy Smith's character LILINETH. Just got inspired to do it, and gives you a little bit of a look into how I do my figure painting. I have a lot of figure paintings, but I can't show the figure paintings I do, the studies I do, because they're beautiful and they're finished. But a lot of times, again, it's going to be a nude figure, so I can't really show that on YouTube. But I can't say enough how important working from the nude figure is for artists, because it's so challenging. It's the most challenging subject because everybody knows what it's supposed to look like. It's the same thing as getting a likeness. When everybody knows what something or someone is supposed to look like, then it's like, how do you fool them? You can't convince them. Uncle painted, sorry, my glasses here. Uncle painted, 3,000 watercolors while rebuilding his nation and then fighting a two-front war. Outstanding. We all get the same number of hours a day. 100% Mark Music Obsession posting a he-dog, indeed. And he's got some artwork of mine. He knows that. I can't imagine concentrating on work with the busyness of Comic-Con. It's tough, but as you guys know, with you guys, I work talking to you guys, so it's kind of like that. I think the hardest thing I've ever done, or one of the hardest things you'll ever do if you're trying to, paint at the same time, is teaching. Because when I was teaching, I would have students standing around me while I worked, and they would often ask me different questions at different times. while I was talking and holding my, train of thought together. And I think that that sort of experience helped me learn that I had that ability. But I sort of assumed everybody could, paint and talk at the same time. And I only learned from you guys that it was not a common thing, because it's all I know. Like, I then started to look around me, and I realized that it drives Mrs. Enjetti crazy when she's working and I talk to her. But the funny part of that is, when I'm working and she wants to talk to me, she always assumes I could do it. And I said to her, I said, so wait a second, you're telling me that you can't do that, but you assume I can? She goes, I never thought about it, because you just always could. Said, all right, fair enough. So I actually didn't know that that was something that it's hard for people to paint and talk at the same time. But apparently it is. So I believe it. Who am I? I'm just one person, so I can't really say that it's not true based on what I've seen. 93 people watching. Thank you so much between X and YouTube. I appreciate all of you guys. 94 people watching. My goodness. If you haven't yet, feel free to swing over to YouTube and drop a like on this thing. That does help move the needle and get things going for our channel. So thank you. I do appreciate you wherever you're watching. As long as you're enjoying yourself, and you do take a little bit of time to check out SPRINGBALL, Terminal Monstosity, and Nosfero the Crypt Walker, 2 books that I'm writing and illustrating. One of them will be going to the printer soon, Nosfero the Crypt Walker's second printing, and the art edition of that book, because I've been laying those out all day. The artwork is done, and I'm just kind of fine-tuning a couple of things just to make sure it's the best book possible, because when I print a book, it's a big deal. It costs a lot of money, so I want them to be, and a lot of time, so I always want them to look great. So look at the way the water is you're just letting the paint do things. You're not trying to force it. Sometimes when you need a line, when you're trying to say something with the anatomy or a figure, that's when you do it. Rocky had commented on your painting and talking simultaneously. Yes, he has. He used to hang out with me when I did that. I never thought about it. Yeah, Bob Ross made it look easy. See, think about that. That's the only person I had to look at when I was a kid who was painting and making artwork in front of people. And he was always talking while he did it. So I thought that was totally normal. I never would have thought that that wasn't something that was normal, because Bob did it, and that was all I was seeing. Was Bob, talking about, all of his critters, that he was raising and taking care of and all of that stuff. What a guy, man. Bob Ross was a guy. He was a dude. I miss that cat, man. He was, the thing that gets me about it, too, is when you talk to the people who worked with him, they're like, yeah, that was Bob. And funny enough, you'll hear the exact same thing from people who know me and actually spend time with me. They're like, yeah, that's kind of how Shanth is. He's like that. I mean, gosh, I've been doing this thing here, this YouTube thing here for 6 years. You can go back and watch my streams for 6 years. Heaven help you if you do. But this is how I am when I meet everybody, I mean, it never dawned on me that, yeah, I don't know. Who knows why that is? I don't know. But I mean, the people that are around me, I could probably say that about for most of them. Most of the people that I meet and that I keep around me long term are like that. There's no like secret whatever the hell going on. So thank God for that. And again, I'm seeing something happening here with the water. You know what I mean? I'm seeing something happening where the pigment is just breaking. This heavy body acrylic is just kind of breaking and doing something really wild there. And I want it to I want to join in. I want to have a conversation with the paint. You know what I mean? The paint and I are having a conversation when we do this stuff. And I used to try to fight the media to do what I wanted it to do. And you do have to do that when you're young and starting out. It's not just about letting the paint do things. There's too many folks who don't understand the dual nature of it. The paint is excellent by itself. If you're going to use it, you want to bring something to the table. But there's a difference between doing that and fighting it. So again, sorry to shine the spotlight on the poor lad, but when I'm working with Eric, one of the things that I'm really proud of seeing him do, and is really great to see, is Eric is learning when to stop working on a painting before it gets overworked. And that's really when you start to realize, see someone that you're training, that their eye is trained enough to understand that there's a point at which you're not going to get as much out of it. and where it's time to move on. Don't kill it. Don't kill the painting. And for me, it's kind of listening to what the media is doing, And look at what happens there. Isn't that fun? What is up, JWK Creates? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There you are. And hail to you, JWK Creates. Hail chat. Hail Shanth. Just hopping in to say hello. Well, hello to you, JWK Creates. It's great to see you, brother. Have to say your studio is looking quite snazzy. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. We're getting there, man. We are getting there. I've got it set up so that, let me just pan real quick so you guys can see it. I've got it set up so that the TV is playing the trailers for my books, both Nosfero and SPRINGBALL. I've got my vintage artwork canvas prints. They're not vintage prints, but the artwork is vintage that's on them of the Mummy and Frankenstein, and then of course a Basil Gogos painting, one of his last, of the Wolfman from 2010. So he actually painted Benicio del Toro's Wolfman, and he, my friends, was an absolute legend. But yes, it's great to see you, WK Creates, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. The whole emphasis of what I wanted to do with this studio space was to make it a place you guys come in. Oops for Paul Caster. Oops, I missed something. Oh, I caught your cartoon trailer today. Paul Caster trailer. Yes. Oh, man, yeah. I love that character. I want to do something with it. I'd love to have Rocky draw that. Man, Paul Caster is tailor-made for Rocky. I think he could do something really cool with it, but I'm not sure. Thulu, yep, right in the front. Yeah, Thulu is there. Famous Monsters of Filmland. Russell Tyson knows. Yeah, Basil Gogos is a huge inspiration in my work, color-wise. Both in my digital and traditional work, you will see me push color. I love Steve Olaf as well, but let me see. Where the heck did I leave that? Did I put that in the bookcase like a good book collector, or did I do what I always do, which is just leave it? Here it is, of course. I have it out where I can get to it, especially when it's something this good. So if you guys don't know, this is Basil Gogos' work. Basil Gogos was a color maniac. He is just, this book is beautiful. I had it in soft cover, and then I bought it in hardcover. I just tracked it down on eBay because I love his work. I've seen his originals in person, and they are gorgeous. But what a lot of people don't know is he did a lot of illustrations for like war magazines and things like that. And look at the accuracy this guy was getting. Illustrators back then, man, they got their reference and they just went to work. But he did a lot of men's adventure magazine stuff and things like that. And let me see if I can find. His men's adventure magazine stuff is great, but I don't think a lot of people have seen this stuff. Look at this, man. Holy cow. I mean, that is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable work. So yeah, well, can't show that page. Similar reason I can't show this current page. But yeah, Basil Gogos was just an incredible artist. Used the same model as James Bama did. Or Bama, sorry, I always call him Bama because I grew up in the South. But he painted his share of lovely ladies. What a great artist. But when it comes time to where you start seeing his monster stuff, he just goes nuts. Look at those colors, guys. Look at those colors. Get out of town, man. That's why I had to have one of his paintings on the wall. Yep, the Doc Savage model. You know, Russell, you wouldn't spot him anywhere, that model, because he was so many things. But look at this dude. You know? People were like, what color is he going to use, Basil? He's like, indeed. And he went to work, man. I shouldn't even be like painting and showing this book at the same time, because it's just, well, actually, no, it doesn't. I'll never be one of those people who's like, you're so good, I hate you. You know, like people got into the habit of saying that. I don't like it. I just go up to people and say, oh man, that's awesome, you're so good. You could say that also. But I actually have never been disappointed or had the air sucked out of me by people who are good. That's what fills up my tank. That's what makes me excited, man. Look at this. I'm lucky. I get to look at Basil Gogos. Basil Gogos had to be Basil Gogos. How lucky am I, man? Jeez. I mean, come on now. Come on now. Look at this stuff. Dang. Like that for me is the whole purpose of when I do a book. When you buy a book from me, I'm doing this crazy difficult art crap so that you guys don't have to. That's the goal, man. That's the goal. It's like, I'm here to do stuff to excite, inspire you, and, you know, make you go, wow, I've got beauty in my house. I'm investing in these comics. I've got beauty. I've got new stories. I was there when Springball launched. Do you know what I'm saying? Seeker of the Moon. It's great to see you, by the way. I forgot to say hello. And yeah, this stuff is beautiful. Beautiful. But when you see those classic monster illustrations, the thing that drove me crazy about some of the stuff they did at Dark Universe down in Universal is, while this stuff, it's not like this stuff isn't there, every restaurant they have down there, they have this kind of new, almost AI-looking art to me. I just don't like the look of it. And I just thought, you should be having Basil Gogos paintings everywhere. It's not like they're trying to create this, like, lore. It's like Van Helsing the land instead of being Universal Monsters, with all due respect. And they have a legacy of genius here. Look at this painting, one of the people who influenced the vampire villainess, Lascivia. This is a painting of Ingrid Pitt, the incredible Ingrid Pitt from Hammer Horror. And look at that. Basil just letting me know, keep trying, Shanth. You won't get there, but you keep trying. You can't catch me, man. But hopefully one day we'll get to see each other in the next life, and you know, wherever painters go. But yeah, I mean, even Star Wars stuff too, guys. Look at that. And you better believe George Lucas owns a lot of his stuff. It's going to be probably in George Lucas's new museum. But yeah, I mean, and he painted people who were difficult to paint, man. Like, my God, look at this right there, man. How good is that? Robert Mitchum. Isn't that great? This is an early painting by Basil Gogos. You can see his old signature. And then, of course, there's Bogey. I've painted Bogey a few times. Oh, wow. These figure drawings he did. These are Michelangelo. He drew from Michelangelo's figure drawings. Can't show those, unfortunately. But look at this stuff, man. The Mummy by Boris Karloff. Guys, I show these books, and for that reason, Seeker of the Moon, I show these books for that reason, because you may not have heard of some of this stuff, or you may not have thought to use the materials the way I show how I use the materials. And it might be the thing, yes. This is the Famous Monsters movie, Famous Monsters movie art of Basil Gogos. It's this book. It's awesome. There's a soft cover and a hardcover. And it is, it's good. It is. God, I feel like I was going into, it's good. I was watching someone do their Al Pacino impersonation the other day, and they were like, balance. Checking. All right. And it was cracking me up, man. Oh my God. Look at that, man. Look at that. Yes, indeed. Yeah, guys, this is the stuff. When I sit down to paint monsters, Gogos is very close to my heart, man. Gogos is very close to my heart because he's a genius. Need a signal. That's right. You do. You do. That's how you do it. That's what his work brings out. Look at this too. Let's freaking paint. Look at the background. He's not trying to convince you that it's not paint or it's not charcoal. He's not interested in that. He's like, look, I'm making art for you. You are asking me to go out there and take a canvas or a piece of paper and walk that tightrope, and maybe I'll fall. Maybe I won't be able to pull it off, but you're paying me to take the risk. When you guys back Springball and when I go to do a comic book, you're paying me to take the risk of falling flat on my face, thousands and thousands of hours, but you're saying, take the risk, Shanth, make a comic book. We got you. We got your back. We're your net. Now you walk that tightrope. Make it happen. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. That's what Basil Gogos did for me. I look at Basil Gogos and all I can do is applaud. That's all I can do is applaud this dude's work. Look at this stuff, man. Dang. And hail Jeremy Burt's my brother. I just saw you come in. It's good to see you, man. How you doing? And what is up, K-pop junkie? Jimin. You know what I'm talking about. I was telling my daughter that. She was cracking up, K-pop junkie. Yeah, man. Jeremy Burt's is in the house. My brother. Let's see who else I missed here. Mikey is here. It's good to see you, Mikey. Who else? Who else have we got? Cool. Just making sure I'm keeping up on things. But look at this stuff, man. This, gotta make sure there's no nude figures here because you never know with him. But then look at this crazy stuff he did here for album covers, man. Gogos rocks on. Rob Zombie. This dude got it done. The Misfits. You see what I'm saying? It's really just about looking back and ahead. I've seen the original of this one. I think Guillermo del Toro owns it, so I saw it in his exhibition of his work. Look at this crazy King Kong, guys. How good is this King Kong? Come on now. Look at that, man. Incredible. And Go-Go's posing with Steranko because Steranko is a G. You know, we got Rondo Hatton there. Inspiration for, of course, the famous character in The Rocketeer, but also great in the old Sherlock Holmes movies or serials with there were movies with Basil Rathbone as the Brixton Horror, I believe is what he was named, the Man Who Laughs. Look at this. The amount of artwork in this book is sublime. Look at this. Look at the crazy color play of this man. There we go. I got a decent angle on it. So, like, that's the thing when people say, like, I'm hugely influenced by Alphonse Mucha, I'm influenced by so many different artists, but I don't even know where the heck I can... I've got too many things, guys, here. I've got too many books. I'm going to die in an avalanche of books, but that's how it's got to go. Where the heck is it? Oh, Lordy B. I've got so much stuff here. Oh, there we go. So when I sit down and people ask me about my color theory on Nosfero the Crypt Walker, this is the stuff. The hardcover is 25% off on Amazon right now. Just bought it. Yeah! I love it. Yeah, that Kong looks like a model. It absolutely does. It absolutely does, man. But look at what I'm doing in the color. Can you guys see how I'm just trying to, like, push the color to do, you know, the crazy things that you can do only when you're not trying to do exact... You know, this is total realism. You're trying to do something that is, like, dreamlike, you know, and majestic and haunting and colorful. I don't think horror needs to be black and white. I think it should be hammer horror color or black and white. I love black and white horror. Don't get me wrong. But I think that it could be, you know, what my goal for my artwork is lurid grandeur. Just something that's just pulp lurid. And really just, you just are swinging for the fences. That's what Nosfero is. I think it's one of the most beautiful independent comics to come out in a long time. It's hand-painted, it's creator-owned, it's Comicsgate, and it's just so... it's so fun to be able to show the origins of it, too, in the making-of section in the first edition. This is what's in the making-of section in the first edition. I was just trying to explore and see what I could come up with. And figuring out what I could do color-wise with the stone. And I include all of this stuff in the making-of sections of my books. You know, but just fly-on-the-wall process images that show you guys where I started, where things were going when I created it, the sketches, the behind-the-scenes sketches in my work. That is what's so important to show because people want to see, you guys connect with the work we're doing. And you back these books. You want to see, like, how was this made? And when you see these books, you have no doubt you got your money's worth because you go, man, these guys are working. They are working hard. You guys might not see every bit of work we're doing, but rest assured, if you're in this space and you are working your tail off, it is immense. But, man, is it worth it. Would you want to be doing anything else? No. Not at all. This is what I want to be doing, and this is what you guys made possible, and this is made possible by... Made with Liberty in the U.S.A., which is what's on every single book I do at SHANTH ENJETI Art, guys. That's the fun. So let's get back, because Basil Gogos is looking down on all of us and saying, do better. We've got work to do, as you know. We've got things that we have to do. Things that we have to do, folks. My wife is going to be very annoyed with me. Well, she's usually... She's not. She's too nice. I can't ever... really make her out to be something that she's not. She's a way too nice of a person. What can I say? But she's gonna laugh because all I've had to eat today is an apple because I woke up on the painting side of the bed today. I just started. Don't worry. If you looked at me, you wouldn't think I was starving. Not like I used to look in those pictures from 2002. No one's looking at me and going, I think that boy is too skinny. Rest assured. But you see this? Here's that part where if you guys were here earlier and you saw this, I put my knuckle down right there and it pulled the paint off and it made that little circle right there. And I'm coming down to where I could paint over it if I wanted to. And I'm like, no. That's supposed to be there, man. I don't know why, but that's supposed to be there. You know, I want something that is more than I could do just, you know, if I had total control over it. I want something that's got this kind of, I don't know, this sort of haunting, playful sort of quality that the medium and what paint can give you. And sometimes I just grab things and I grab colors over here on my palette. I work with very bright colors. If I want a muted or muddy color, I mix two bright colors into each other to make them muted. But I try to keep that sense of play and that sense of energy there. Do you see how I'm working with the shapes that the water is giving me right there? Working with those shapes, not against them. Working against them is, you might as well get a roller at that point if you want to work against them. I did say that once to somebody, and they looked at me. They stopped for a minute because I was feeling silly. If you read my interview, you know every now and again I've got to give a joke answer. In my Warlock interview, I did give one answer, but someone asked me one time, "How do you paint nude figures?" And I said, "With a roller." Daniel Evans, what's up, my friend? How are you doing? For God so loved the world. Yes, indeed. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Love your neighbor as yourself. Amen. Yeah. Amen. Let's see here. Shoot. Hammer horror films. Yes. Hammer horror films were also very saturated, especially the blood scenes. And you know what? Jack Asher's lighting in those movies, when Jack did a movie, was very Basil Gogos. Maybe I should say Basil Gogos was very inspired by Jack Asher. It's tough to say which came first, the chicken or the egg, but there was just something about color film and what people were trying to do with it. When you watch Brides of Dracula, which is a beautiful Hammer horror film by Jack Asher, there's a moment where the lead actress, whose name escapes me, I apologize, she comes down a flight of stairs and she's wearing this almost this blue-green nightgown, and she's surrounded by purples and all these other cool colors, and it just, you go, how did you capture that color on film? It's incredible. Just incredible. There we go. I like what that's doing. I don't know what it's doing, but I'm having fun with it. Just a little, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what that is, but let's do it. You know? Let's see what it can do. You never know. You never know where the paint is going to take you at the start of the day, and you never know where the story is going to take you. You can just try to keep up and follow it. And with Springball, the story just at a certain point was like, all right, I'm taking over. I got this, man. And I've been working on it ever since. If you're a channel member, you can get a glimpse at, of course, an in-progress double-page spread that's a members-only post. And you can sort of see how this stuff evolves and how the narrative comes together when I'm working. But yeah, I don't want the paint to feel like it's, you know, it's too, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, too overdetermined, maybe is the best way to put it. I think that sometimes can be the death of a painting, is to kind of just have it way too overdetermined. You see people who hit all the marks and try to make everything consistent, and sometimes that just leaves you cold. You know, sometimes it leaves you cold as a viewer and as an audience member. And I know for me, as someone who loves artwork, that's not the stuff that I'm drawn to. You know, I want that sense of fantasy and that kind of majestic quality there is what I'm going for. And when this is done, it's so contrasty. Like if you own one of my originals, if you bought this stuff and you've owned any of the originals, you know that the colors are way better in person and they're way more subtle, but it is one of those things. Been a great stream. Shanth, gotta head out for some errands. Understood. Positivity in your streams is like therapy for me. I'm so glad to hear that. By the way, hope Bosch is okay. Haven't seen him stream in a while. I think his channel got nuked, but he's got a new channel. So check out his X and maybe you'll be able to track it down there. I think there's probably a link. It does what it wants. 100%, man. 100%. Rachel Brinkley at Shanth Enjeti Art. Can Springball beat Speedball in an arm wrestling contest? Wow, that's tough. I don't know. Well, here's what I would say. I know how strong Springball is, and I have no idea how strong Speedball is. But Springball has a strength of 10 men. So 10 strong men is what his strength is. That's where he starts. That's where he stops. And so it's important for a couple of reasons. It's how he got that strong, which is going to be revealed at some point soon. But it has to do with a circumstance he was in, much like with Nosfero, natural capacity mixed with a crucible-like experience where you had to endure. And out of that, came, again, my favorite quote from the Count of Monte Cristo, which I quote all the time because it really is something that I remember reading it and I thought, it sort of describes what I've experienced in my life fairly well, with regards to certain things. And I love it. And it's about how there's that necessary tension. And there's that those necessary obstacles that make you into the artist and the man that you're going to be. And in this world, and the adult you're going to be. It goes like this. And it's going to be the closer for the Nosfero Oxidized edition. I think it's going to be in that one. It may even be in the art edition of it too. And it's the rhetorical question I put here. It's a paraphrase of the question. What would I not have accomplished if I had been free? And the response of the Count of Monte Cristo is possibly nothing at all. The overflow of my brain would probably, in a state of freedom, have evaporated in 1,000 follies. Misfortune is needed to bring to light the treasures of the human intellect. Compression is needed to explode gunpowder. Captivity has brought my mental faculties to a focus, and you are well aware that from the collision of clouds, electricity is produced. From electricity, lightning. From lightning, illumination. Alexandre Dumas, The Count of Monte Cristo. One of the finest books, one of the finest quotes out there. I love that stuff. Rachel Brinkley, just being a geek. And thanks for trying to answer. Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Have you looked into a vendor for a Springball paddleball? I really should at some point. I have not yet. You know me, Mark. I'm just like trying to keep my head above water. Hail, Rachel Brinkley says, channel member Jeremy Burtz, man. OG. Love seeing it, man. Love seeing you in the chat, brother. Love that work too, by the way. It's the possibilities are there. At a certain point, I think it's just gonna have to take over and have a life of its own. I imagine at some point there'll be an opportunity for me to to get people reach out and they're interested in things. I just want to make sure everything is quality, and I want to make sure that that I'm just doing everything I can to get you guys the books and focusing on the story and the art, because I do think that beautiful aesthetic experiences and aspirational storytelling. My stories don't teach you, much like Count of Monte Cristo, don't teach you that the world is a bundle of roses and everything like that, and everything's easy. But it also doesn't teach you the lessons of nihilism, that it's all pointless, life has no meaning, and all of that nonsense. Because who can write sort of the romantic and the aspirational better than people who've experienced horror? And I think that horror is a contextualizing force at its best for beauty and for the power of the human spirit and the power of the human imagination. And that's what Count of Monte Cristo is about. What happens when and funny enough, so is Judah Ben-Hur, the story the story of Christ, or a story of Christ. Sorry, it was a great movie with Charlton Heston. It started as a book by a Civil War general. How am I talking about this stuff while I'm painting? What the heck is wrong with me? Good Lord, you guys make me get freaked out about it now. But it's the story of what happens when you get to the end of revenge and you experience that hollowness. Then what? Right? Because just getting revenge on those responsible for your misfortune is a hollow pursuit. It doesn't give you a soul. It lets the other person consume you. And that's storytelling shouldn't guide you down that path, if that makes sense. My Shanth original indeed has amazing color. Oh, I'm so glad you like it, Mark. I loved painting that, man. That's such a great face to paint too. Prints can't replicate. Yeah, my books, the printing on them is great, I will tell you, and I'm really, really proud of that. But when you own an original painting, it's the chemistry of the people who made the paint, and it's the light where you are, and it's so It's such an incredible experience. And I think that's why, you know, the people who can make artwork, who there's less and less people who can make, you know, actual physical work, because it takes a lot of skill to do. People are valuing it. They really want to have that stuff because they want to bring beauty into their life. And there's something very powerful when you back a comic book like Nosfero or SPRINGBALL or LILINETH by Andy Smith or Graham Nolan's Escape from Monster Island, to say that my money is going to bringing beauty into my life, to bringing something and that is inspirational into my life rather than something that's just junk. I'm going to be a patron of the arts, and I know I spend time with the artist. I watch the artist work, so I have a connection with the pieces in the book because I've watched them be created. That's an incredibly powerful and unique to our time, a new to our time experience. And I just think there's something so fantastic about it that maybe I haven't even fully, because I'm so busy usually working, I haven't fully come to appreciate it yet. I know I appreciate it a lot, but I mean truly appreciate it in the understanding sense, because it is kind of a miracle when you think about it. It's when I paint somebody's character, or I'm working on the painting of the dragon for Lloyd Burton, or one of those really big magnum opus pieces that I do every now and again. It's a conversation with the subject, and here it's a conversation with a fellow creator's character. And whoever ends up owning this original, whenever I sell it, that's what they're going to have. They're going to have this this documentation of my time while I was working on the piece. This is time on canvas. That's what makes it great. Yeah, forgiveness is true strength. It is. It absolutely is. It doesn't mean, and people get so confused about it. It doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean that. The question is, or the issue is, do you want to bind yourself to the negative experiences of your life, and do you want to let them hold on to you and the misery that comes with that? Because it really is, that famous quote, resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It's very true. It's very true. Resentment, I tend to not spend time around people who indulge in resentment, because it's not good. It's really not good, and it's not something that I'm keen to stay away from. It doesn't mean just have no reaction to things. It doesn't mean just forget things that happen and all that other stuff. I'm not talking about that. It's not a lobotomy, but it is something that you can watch consume people, and it really does not take them anywhere good. I mean, just look at do you guys see what I mean? Look at what the color's doing. It's so fun. What the I'm such a painting dork, but that's all right. I'll be okay with it. But again, when I was doing this piece, I had the option. I was looking at the model, and I was finding the pose I wanted, and I was stretching it out, and I was sort of fixing the figure so that it would be much more like a Robert McGinnis painting, and he would stretch his figures out using a projector and then angling the surface he was drawing on. But as I started to look at the figure, the idea of covering up the figure's breasts, at least up until now, and I think it's going to continue, it just didn't appeal to me. Like it felt like it was very anti-classical, as an art. Like if this was a job for somebody, if someone was like, this is this is going to be a cover on my book, and I need it to be this or that, or it was for a particular type of job where that wouldn't be allowed, I would, of course, that would be a part of the assignment. I wouldn't, buck the system in that way at all. I might do what Frazetta did, and if I didn't sell the painting, paint it how I wanted it afterwards. But it didn't appeal to me, because I think that, one of the things that shocks me, when I watch movies today, and I was watching Van Helsing the other night, because I'd read a funny little, a concept artist on the project spilling the tea, so to speak, about the production of it, and why certain things didn't work. But I was fascinated by the art, the art that sort of went into it. But I was watching it, and I was just staggered by how much violence you could get away with showing in a PG-13 movie, but heaven forbid, you show a nipple or something. And I thought, this is madness, man. This is absolute, madness. How much you can get away with violence-wise. I just will never understand it. And so, again, when I'm painting a female figure, I'm going, how ridiculous is it that something that is just a part of classical artwork is so, as the breast is such a, you you can't show it. It's heaven forbid you show that. And then you're seeing people being just freaking dismembered, for heaven's sake, in movies, and they're still PG-13. I'm yeah, heaven forbid, you see you see a bare breast on a woman as opposed to seeing someone split in half. I'm my God. What is wrong with, we really, there was nudity when I was growing up, and when they were first doing the rating system. I think Jaws was PG. Let's start there. Jaws was PG. But you could see a breast in a G movie, or sorry, a naked rear end, maybe a breast in a, you could see a breast in a G movie because Clash of the Titans was G rated, I think. It wasn't PG, it was G rated. The Ray Harryhausen film. We need to get back to that. Because it's weird. Strange. I hate to use the word weird, you know how I feel about it. But it is just, I think it's sending people a very disturbed message about violence versus nudity that I have yet to figure out, and yeah, it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of time, and it happens in its own time, it happens in its own time, because there are obviously nude breasts in Nosfero, because that's what I want to do when I paint. There's diaphanous nightgowns, there's all that kind of stuff, but everything is done in a fairly classical way. It's done for the beauty of it, and there have been times where for the story I cover up a figure because it's just not right for that particular part of the story, but it's never done, because I think there's anything, wrong with it. And it's definitely done because I think it adds to the beauty of the story as an aesthetic thing. I remember the first time, man, that movie is good. I remember the first time I saw Clash of the Titans when it came out, loved it. So I'm going to see if I can pan this over without causing too much trouble. Let me just see. But if you look, sorry for any motion sickness, my apologies. If you look over at my bookshelf over there, you can, you can't see it, it's too dark, but you can see this Ray Harryhausen's, let's see if I can get it there, Centaur and Jaws, of course, Bruce the Shark. But you can see Ray Harryhausen's Centaur from The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, which I have that poster behind me. Love Ray Harryhausen, love those movies. Rumble 13, Romeo and Juliet movie in the 70s, I remember it well. Showed boob, and they were supposed to be teenagers. Yeah, and even more importantly, I remember it was a big deal. You had to sign a permission slip when they showed that movie at my school. What's up, Grey Wolf? It's great to see you, man. Hail, how are you doing? And I just think, God, that is seriously, come on now. Let's all just chill out about that stuff. It's just nuts. But yeah, that was something that started to happen, I would say, in the 80s, in the mid to late 80s into the 90s. But before then, not at all the case that we had this particular view. So this is a very recent phenomenon. And I think if you were to look at things, I don't think things have improved since we started this particular type of selective censorship. It's really strange. And I don't think we should have nearly as many ratings as we have. We're really splitting hairs now, man. I mean, think about that for a minute. Again, I want to repeat that just so anybody coming in late heard that, man. Jaws was PG. Parental guidance. It is. It's a movie you should watch with parental guidance, but it's not like it's teaching you anything like life has danger in it. People die. Things happen. Adults go skinny dipping sometimes. After a night at the bar. That's not evil. It's weird. Yeah, at least She-Hulk twerked. Rumble 13 says, right? You know what I'm talking about, man. It's weird. It's. I would say it's puritanical, but it's not puritanical. That's what these folks were all claiming before they took over and brought their new brand of puritanism into things. It's actually something very specific. It's control. It's control, and it's a weird kind of shame. It's a hatred of beauty. It's a hatred of youth. It's a hatred of aesthetics. That's what you're seeing happening with whatever that, model, actress, whatever she is people just hate the idea that a lot of people find her attractive in a very particular way. Which is youthful, sexiness, vitality, and all of that stuff. If it's not your bag of chips, if you're not cool with it, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But in the same way people, women would find Chris Hemsworth attractive, when he's playing Thor, is the exact same way that guys find her attractive. And, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing to watch all of the uproar. I'm just so glad to be here where I can paint things that I find attractive and interesting. My man, Past Master Dan, dropping links like Oscar Mayer. What is up? Springball Terminal Monstrosity right there, man. And Cranberry Langer's OG channel member. It is great to see. Where's Tarks9? Where is Tarks9 at? Tarks9 with the Springball representation. I saw your name again when I was going through and I saw that great mail-in piece, the mail-in Springball cover when I was updating the channel member credits for this stream. Thank you so much for being here, Tarks9, and being a channel member. I appreciate you. And hail Past Master Dan and OG channel member Cranberry Landers. It's great to see all of you guys here. Channel members unite, and hail to all of you. Man, I tell you what, Past Master Dan, I'm so excited for you to get that painting, man, because when you see it in person, we've been talking about paintings and getting paintings in person and the differences. The colors on that are just really nice, man. It's going to scream. You're going to love it, man. Going to love that one. And it was so fun to put those together and get those shipped out, man. I've been just got so many things going on. The little people of Stonehenge are going to be leaving and going back to school soon. And when your kids are adults and they start to go off, and make their own lives, it can be tough. You get to those precious times when you're together, and it's just it's tough for those things to move on, and that's the way of life. That's how these things go. But they've got to, they're both pursuing things that I'm very proud of them for pursuing, that are going to help people and help a lot of people. So that's a great thing. So I couldn't be happier, but it is tough, man. You want to make sure you get that time in with the family when you have it. But just look at the way, like, the paint just does these exciting things, man. Sorry I missed the mark with not signing up Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, in Spider-Woman film. Yeah, isn't that wild? Madam Web. Yeah, so yeah, sorry, missed the mark with not signing. Yeah, they did, I guess. I mean, here's the thing. Cranberry Lanterns always makes me happy to see it. Yeah, gonna frame it. Oh, Past Master Dan, I'm so glad to hear that, brother. See, that's what we were just talking about, that how when I sell paintings, and there are some original head sketches still available on the Nosfero campaign, if you monster head sketches, which are just really beautiful paintings, frameable paintings. I call them sketches, but you know how it goes with me. For me, artwork just makes that's why I surround myself with artwork. My wife goes, as many paintings as you have, how come you only have the one hang in there painting that I love around me? And it's because I get inspired by other artists. So when you look at my studio space and you see my plethora of Blu-rays and movies, you also see classic monster posters right there. You see the Rob Roscop face painted deck recreation by an artist I love named Jason Edmiston. I also love the artist who did the original artwork for it too. But my brother Nick, who gives me the gift of art frequently, I got a landscape painting of his in the other room. He bought that deck for me. Just as a brother, saying, I think this will make you happy, man, and he's a good dude, of course. I've got all that kind of stuff. Let me see if I can arrange this so that you guys get a decent angle. Move that up. You guys can see my messy desk and my painting. But yeah, I mean, that's the stuff I love, man. That's what makes things so fun, And yeah, I love, that's the stuff I love. That we were talking about this when I was working, Cranberry, and that's the thing, is it's just letting the paint sometimes do what it wants to do, and letting the water let the paint break. And so when you see me doing stuff like that, I think acrylics, because of what they were when they first came on the scene, they really have made some huge technological advances with acrylic paints in the last several decades. but they got a bad rap because they were just so fussy and so plasticky. But heavy body acrylics really are a beautiful media to work in. You know, I can work in a very washy and sort of watery way. And then I can also do some really nice opaque fine detail, almost get ink lines out of it. But it really is about just looking at the light. And so this is a painting I was just inspired to do inspired by Andy Smith's LILINETH campaign. So if you haven't backed it yet, it's the feel free to post the link in the chat, guys, mods. I just was, Andy did the cover of my first professional job I did when I was 17, a book called Threshers. I did the back cover, he did the front cover. And I did the interiors on that. And it just felt right when I was on the launch stream for the book with him. And I had an idea. I wanted to paint a nude figure model because it's been a while since I've had a chance to do that. And I just thought this is a great character for me to do that with. I use Liquitex acrylics all the time. Yeah, they're great. The new mixtures on the heavy body acrylics, the professional grade, they are fantastic. Decided to try my own LILINETH, but from the backside Face Blues Bond. Yeah, there you go. Make it happen, Rachel. Yeah, man, that's what we do here. These there's a line of acrylic model paints, mission models that royally sucks. Oh no, it wouldn't dry without some kind of additive. I pitched it all in the trash. Yeah, there's some paints out there that give people bad painting experiences. And much like swimming, if you have a bad painting experience, it's almost better if you've never painted than if you've painted and had a terrible painting experience, because you get so psyched out by that, Let's see what angle I can do this at. I'm going to have to move my camera a little bit. Sorry, guys. There we go. We get a little bit of play on there, but you can see like what we're doing here with like how the reflective sort of nature of the panel versus the painting. And that's the thing that's crazy. You didn't think to do a life study of Lizzo? I'm not painting nightmares today. And thank you, Cranberry Landers, you're cracking me up. Thank you, Past Master Dan. There's a link to Andy Smith's LILINETH Infernal Conflict, guys. Go there, back the book. Past Master Dan, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, the acrylics I use, just for you folks at home, in case you're wondering, are actually I want to grab a newer tube because just so if the logo's changed. They are Liquitex Professional, but that's the only heavy body acrylics they make. Professional heavy body acrylic. This is one of the colors I use, dioxazine purple, and this is what the package looks like. So Liquitex Professional heavy body acrylics. They're great. The mixture is great. I've played around with a lot of paints in my time, and these are fantastic. I've been using them since I found them, and they completely changed the way I feel about acrylics. I used to hate acrylics. I just was so frustrated by them, and now I'm able to use them with this kind of playful, watercolor almost quality to them. And I think a lot. I'm trying not to knock off the tape I have covering her. So yeah, that's always something that makes my streams a little exciting now when I'm doing this. Is I've got her taped over for the gods of YouTube because I'm not. She's going to be topless in this painting, and I had to make sure I put tape on it. I just wanted to get that edge just a little bit clean because I like a chaotic sense of play with the paint, and then a nice edge, which I think really makes the stuff feel like it's, it feels like it's turning form. When I started, there was only black canvas behind this wing, so I couldn't very well make the wings black where they're in shadow or dark purple. But as the stream went on, and I did put some yellow ochre mixed with dioxazine purple into the game, it really brought that value out of it, to where I could go in and really make the foreground part of the wings. I might give them a little bit of a translucent effect at some point, but I'm not sure. I'm never trying to make it like taxidermy, even though there's some amazing taxidermy artists out there, but I don't want to make it. It's about the play of the media, not about the biology of it. It's about making art. Look at that, man. Look at that. Rotate that a little bit. So fun, man. I love when the paint does things like that. Oh my gosh, a super chat from Robble13, $5. My God. Gotta run. Art was awesome. Thank you so much. Cheers. I gotta send some cheerleaders your way, my friend. And so here you go, Robble13. Thank you for being a channel member, and thank you for the super chat. I will put it towards brushes. I promise. Here you go. Thank you so much, Robble13. Have a great rest of the evening. Wherever it takes you, my friend, I am glad that it brought you through to this channel, and so we could have this time together and enjoy some painting and some hanging out and some chat. So thank you, brother. I do appreciate you so much. Yeah, guys, that's what it's about. It's so fun to do this kind of stuff with you guys and have you guys get to see it because, you know, again, as I told you guys earlier, I had Bob Ross, but you think about how you learn things and how important it is to get to sometimes see people doing the actual thing. And it's why I use what I use to stream, because it does allow for me to get 1080p broadcasts most of the time out to you guys so that you can really see the detail. If this was 720, not only would it start to pixelate some of the stuff with the canvas, but I just don't think you would really get to see how the paint is working and the detail of the thing. So that's why I use Ecamm, because Ecamm allows you to just work directly from your computer out to YouTube. So there's no hold up there. And just look at what happens when that yellow oxide. And what's up, Shadow Hawk Talks? How are you doing, man? It's great to see you. Got some new folks coming in here. It's good to see you guys. Spike Insanity, hail, and hello CG, and hail Shanth. Hail to you and hail to CG, my friend. Yeah, you know, it's really about when you mix those two opposites together. Yellow oxide, which of course is a yellow. It's an earthier yellow, and then you mix it with the dioxazine purple. It creates this very weird, the better the colors are that you're mixing together, the more intensity they have, the better quality of the mud you get. So you get this weird, almost magenta color, you know, and it's just the colors vibrating. What is up, Nomad Damon? How are you doing? Graybeards Raid, what's up, Nomad Damon? Great to see you, man. Spike Insanity, great to see you guys. How is everybody doing? And of course, a shout out to the Graybeards. God bless those guys. They keep it real. They hold it down, you know? And I finally am slowly but surely figuring out how to do all these YouTube things, because I think it was a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, Katie did was like, you need to set up raids on your channel. And so many people have been asking me. Rocky's been asking me that like crazy. And I thought, I have really got to set up raids. So I finally got it done. So look at me getting that stuff done. Super chat from Doc Brewski coming in like a wrecking ball. Hail, Doc Brewski, 199 from Doc Brewski saying hail, and hail to you, Doc Brewski. Thank you so much for being here. And Nomad Damon, thank you so much for being a channel member. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Let me do this. Hold on, I got to fix a couple things real quick. Let me delete this, if that works. We'll see if it gets me into trouble. It didn't, thank God. And let's get some cheerleaders coming here for Doc Brewski. Where are you? There we are. I got to put this on screen so I can hit the cheerleaders. There you go. Thank you so much, guys. I do appreciate it. And here we are, guys. Look at how this thing is coming along now. Really looking nice. I had to drop again some tape. I apologize. Listen, guys. Everybody needs to wake up. And agreed, Rachel. This is what it is. David Williams is going to do what a David Williams is going to do. You know what I'm saying? He was built. He was engineered in the future and sent back in time to dominate. Do you understand? That's where we are. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Yes, indeed. And thank you, Past Master Dan. Hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate all of you guys. Catalyst Vault. Hail, Professor. Hail to you, Catalyst Vault. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well. Let me see here. What's up, Bretsky the Great? How are you doing? I salute you, my friend. Salute, Artist Extraordinaire Shanth. I salute you back, my friend. So, yes, for those of you guys who don't know, Shanth... Oh, wait, let me see here. Shadow Hawk Talks. Shanth's books are beautiful. Thank you so much, Shadow Hawk Talks. Nosfero is just mesmerizing. Yes, guys. And the Second Chance campaign is going to be ending soon, because I got to go to print with those things once I finish all the layouts of the book in InDesign. But yeah, that's it. That book I'm so proud of. It is available, as is SPRINGBALL. And right now I'm working on another campaign that launched recently. Well, not on a campaign, but I'm inspired by another campaign. LILINETH by Andy Smith. And so I'm doing a painting of his character, LILINETH. Just had an idea for a painting, and I said, let's go for it. He was nice enough to do a SPRINGBALL drawing for me when I launched SPRINGBALL. And of course, he did the cover on my first professional job. He did the front cover. I did the back cover and interior. So I had to show some love to Andy Smith. If you have not checked it out, it is the first link in the independent creators, support independent creators section of the description of this. So do post the link, if you would, mods, in the chat for Lilith by my man in Amsterdam, Andy Smith. Does great work. So here's where we get to get to the fun part here, or one of the fun parts, is any place where I have the chance to go in and start to paint the background. This is probably an asinine way to do this, but you know me. But I like to sometimes start with that dark ground and then start to slowly and gradually lighten up the background around the figure, because I can always go and add the figure in. I can even do a wash over the figure with this, because the heavy body acrylics, when watered down, do some really cool stuff. You can do washes over your painting to knock things back. You can do glazes with water and just the paint, and it holds up. I've got paintings in here that I did this technique with. Gosh, at this point, sometimes some of them are like 20 years old, and they've still held up. So yeah, it's a really cool way of working. But just look at how, when that dries, it shifts things over. You know what I mean? Yeah, the crack pack is still hanging in there. That's how it works, man. That's how it works. Let's see here. I'd give it to Lawless this time, but David and Aaron did great too. Yeah, man, they're doing some killer work over there. Yeah, like an opaque, it's really strange, right? Because there's two different ways mixing colors will give you a really great impact and a really great effect. One of the ways you could do it is you mix the colors together in your palette. And actually, I should show you guys that because you're here and because I can. We have the technology. So this is yellow oxide mixed with dioxazine purple. So there's the diox purple, there's the manganese blue, there's the malin white, as I call it. And then there's, but look at where the paint is mixing together. Look at what it's doing. The dioxazine purple is mixing with that yellow oxide, and it starts to make this really cool, crazy kind of old school color like you would see in Basil Gogos's work or Frazetta's work. But it was just what happened when people actually used color before we started muting everything. So that's what I'm doing when I'm painting this piece, is I'm kind of allowing for both the color to mix here, and I put it down and apply it, but then once it's dried, I can take one or the other color and wash it over, and then there's this translucent color mixing effect that happens. So this gives you a lot of opportunities with the paint. And everything I use, I try to do that. You know, I try to work with materials that are going to give back to me, because, you know, on my desk at any given time, not only am I working on SPRINGBALL and digital, I'm working on Nosfero and doing sketches here in gouache, and then I'm working on either commissions or actually just work for myself that's in acrylic. For those of you guys who saw Razorfist, the piece I did for Razorfist Ghost of the Badlands, it's in the back of the deluxe edition. I'll grab it in a second. Coke is it, folks, as it has been since the 80s. Let me see here. This is acrylic on illustration board, and it's one of the few Western paintings I've done. That's actually Razorfist's hand and his original, why am I blanking on it? Bergman. So that's his actual Bergman in his hand. And he posed for this for me because I was like, I need reference of the gun in a certain pose. But this is his character from Ghost of the Badlands. These are the horses I painted. These were from photo reference, but inspired by an amazing British artist by the name of Lucy Kemp Welsh. Incredible. Turn of the century, late 1800s painter. She did some incredible paintings of horses. If you don't know her work, get to know it. She was an incredible representational painter. But it was a fun little chance to do a sort of surrealist Western painting. And it was cool when he reached out to me about it and said, I was like, hell yeah, man, I'll do it. I love that kind of stuff. So that's what's so fun in this you know, there's no BS between us in terms of there's not an art director or an editor, you know, although occasionally, you know, you run into things where you've got busybodies trying to interject themselves between people, but that's going to happen anywhere. But it was just Razorfist, the creator of the book, reaching out to me and saying, hey, I want you to do this. What will it cost? This is what I'm going to need. Him going cool. And then we get to work. And it's the same thing when I've done stuff for Ethan. It's the same thing when I've done stuff for Eric Weathers. God, I've done so many different things. I'm trying to think of who I've done stuff for. Oh, Michael with the Lucent. What else have I done stuff for? John Malin. When I've done work with him, it's the same thing. Everybody, you're going straight to the person you're working for, or you're working with, and usually, in a lot of cases, they're an artist as well, so they kind of understand it. You know, there wasn't a lot of hellish art direction, so you get really good work out of it. You know, it was cool stuff. Look at how, I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah, listen, Past Master Dan, it's too late for me, man. I know you are absolutely right, man. You know I know that you know that I know. God help me, man. And it is industrial cleaner, man. My grandfather, John Camacho, the Puerto Rican fourth, used to clean cars batteries with it. It's not good, man. It is what it is, Lord. But look at how this paint, even though it's going to be a little bit translucent here. Look at how it can almost do things like ink. You know what I mean? It can almost do like these really nice, depending on if the brush has to have a point. It's not a miracle worker. But look at that, man. It really does some crazy stuff like that, man. Isn't that wild how that works? I mean, look at how, dude, you know we've had that joke. Oh my Lord, guys. So in case you guys don't know, for the most part, more than for the most part, I'm teetotal. It's not because I have some issue with it. It's not because I can go out with people, you know, and if they're drinking, I have a good time. I'm fine. It's just not my thing. I prefer caffeine. And I don't smoke, which I miss terribly, but I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. It's just not my thing. If it was my thing, maybe I'd do it, right? But it's not because I haven't tried it. It's just not my thing. That's all there is to it. So my wife is trying to get me to give up soda when the kids were in elementary school. And I kid you not, my son went to school and they were talking about addiction. And my son announced to the class that his dad was addicted to Coke. And before I could even get home from work, my wife is telling me this. And the principal called her to say that, you know, we hope that it's not embarrassing for us that my son announced this. And I'm looking at these people, right? And I'm pissed, okay, for a few reasons. The biggest reason I'm pissed is I'm not exactly slender. Does my ass look like I'm addicted to Coke? I look like I'm addicted to Wendy's, for starters. But it's like the most straight-edge dude you're gonna meet. And I had to explain this to them, and I was like, you should have asked my son for clarification. Instead, he's sitting there going like, oh my God, like, did I say something wrong, man? And I was just like, oh God, what a nightmare. So I scheduled a meeting with them first thing in the morning, and I was like, I don't want to hear another word about this stuff. I drink soda. You people, like, see me every day. Do I look... First of all, I'm clearly being ripped off if I'm this weight, and that's how I roll. Like, seriously, how much Wendy's and Crystal burgers would a man have to eat? Those are the parenting stories. You know it's true. Those are the parenting stories. You have to laugh. And you know what? Now that my kids are almost 20 years old, that's the stuff you miss. I gotta be real with you. You miss it. Those are great times when they're little and silly things like that happen. You know? It's just, poor kid. He was so upset. He felt so embarrassed because everybody looked at him and was like, that's messed up, dude. And he didn't even know what he was talking about. It was so sad, man. Thank you, Christopher Bouchard. I appreciate that, brother. Much love, man. I appreciate that very much. Rachel Brinkley, I bet the old school Coke with cocaine must have been amazing. Yeah, no kidding, right? Same with, I think they're going to be putting sugarcane back into it. Artist Shadowhawk Talks showed his book earlier. Wait, hold on a second. Artist Shadowhawk Talks showed his book earlier. Might as well face Shanth's dignity. Yeah, I definitely am. Not the fun one, though, apparently. Yes, exactly. I know. Soft drinks. Who would have thought? Yes, Mr. Jenny has been found to be. That's what it was. That's what it was. And it was like, oh my God. Slam and Brandon saying, here lies Shanth and Jenny, loving father, loving a husband, died. My God. Oh, you're killing me. Thank you, Slam and Brandon. I needed that. I absolutely needed that, man. That cracked me up, dude. Jeremy, yeah, Bert's, yeah, Basil Gogos. Oh, yes. Yeah, I showed my Basil Gogos book earlier. Love Basil Gogos. And for those of you Basil Gogos fans, I did make a canvas print because it's not available anywhere. Sorry, guys. It's not doing it any justice. Of the Basil Gogos. Let me see if I can adjust the camera gamma to make it easier to see. There we go. It's a little bit better. We'll reduce the gamma on the camera. Say that 6 times fast. But that's the Basil Gogos painting he did for the 2010. It was one of the last paintings he did, the 2010 Wolfman. So that's how long Basil Gogos' career was. He was working up until he was in the ground. That is how every artist, I think, wants to be. You know, painting and doing great work, not having to paint, but, just, making making great stuff every moment you get, man. And Basil Gogos is a hero of mine. Look at that stuff, that color. And not to mention those early Universal Monster posters. They're so great. So there you guys go. And now that the gamma is adjusted, you can actually see the... I mean, it's way... This is not this. It's so much darker than this. That's why I adjusted the gamma on the camera, because you shouldn't be seeing a giant jump between the black paint and the black canvas, and it makes it hard to see sort of the subtlety of the color and the stuff that's going on there. But I always try to adjust things so that it's... See, yeah, even that, if I adjust the brightness, it wrecks it. So there we are. But we're going to try to make it work. Let's see here. Past Master Dan says... Hold on a second. My dad told me something about a friend I repeated, much to my dad's chagrin. He asked me, "Your dad tell you about me?" To which I replied in my 11-year-old voice, "Yeah, you're..." I knew I liked you for a reason. I mean, many reasons, Past Master Dan. But that's a damn good one, man. Yeah, man. Kids will let you know what's up. And sometimes they will lead you slightly astray. But, for the most part, if you want to know. So, funny enough, at the same time this stuff went down, which is why I thought it was so funny they thought that was... That, like, what on earth were they thinking? It's not like they don't know me, for God's sake. It was like, I mean, when I say they know me, I mean they know me, okay? I was like, what the hell? Like, how would I even keep that a secret in a small town? It was really funny. But clearly no one could, because... But I was doing this haunted hallway for Halloween at my kid's school, right? And what self-respecting cokehead is going to put themselves in a hallway with a bunch of freaking kids trying to manage them? You'd lose your mind. But then again, I don't know anything about it, so it's like, God, it's all so insane. So anyway, I'm in the haunted hallway, bunch of kids trying to make this haunted hallway, and basically the other parents get there, they see the room full of kids who've signed up to do the haunted hallway, and they basically go, "You got this, dog." Threw me to the wolves. So I'm surrounded by all these kids, and it's like they're raising their hands, and my kid's there, of course, and they raise their hand, and they'll be like, and I'll like, "Do you have a question?" And they'll go, "I want to be a werewolf." And I go, "That's not a question. Okay, that's an answer. That's an answer. Do you have a question?" "I'm going to be wearing this costume." "Put your hand down unless you have a question. Please, like, questions only, otherwise let me finish. Let me talk what I'm trying to say." Finally, one of the kids raises his hands, and I'm like, "Do you have a question? Are you sure it's a question?" And I'm like, and he's like, and I'm in this, air conditioned. It was hot, because it was late September or early October when I guess we were prepping for this thing. And I'm surrounded by these kids who are like sucking the air out of the hallway. Like I can barely breathe. And I was like, "Are you sure it's a question, little man?" And I go, and he's like, "Yes, I know it's a question." I was like, "What is the question?" He goes, "Why are you sweating so much?" Because it was so hot. I'm surrounded by these freaking little kids. I'm like, probably going to get pink eye or lice, God knows what. And he did have a question. And I said, "Because you guys are like suffocating me." Oh, Jesus, man. Whew. That's life. Wouldn't trade it for anything. But, when my son went to that elementary school, the first time he found out about the haunted hallway, he was like, "I can't wait," and I knew I was going to have to volunteer for it. You know how that is with kids. Yeah, how do I become a werewolf, Mr. Enjetti? Yeah, that at least would have been a question. But it was really important to him. He loves Halloween. God, I love having a son who loves Halloween. It's great because I absolutely love Halloween. Lauren even said to me, Mrs. Enjetti, for those of you guys who don't know, said to me that she's like, I know, like, it's summer still, and she is not the Halloween maniac in our house, but I think I've helped her to get into it. She's like, I'm already starting to get excited for fall and Halloween, and I'm like, atta girl. I like where your head's at. I like where your head's at, baby. We can work with that. We can absolutely work with that. You know? Gosh, thank God for this tape. This tape is actually hanging in there pretty well, because I'm trying to dance around YouTube's. I don't know what their policy is, but I have often found that the more accurately I paint certain things, even if they're an odd color, the more YouTube is likely to look at it and think it's something else. I did a acrylic painting of a nude figure and way back on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure it got flagged because they thought it was actually a photo of somebody. I was like, that'll teach me to learn how to paint. But again, I think it's all, I mean, it's all a little ridiculous to go as far as it does, but, you know, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. It's so silly. Seems to be about the only thing people have a hang-up for these days. It's really strange. Look at that. And, you know, we're already starting to frame out that second wing. That's what's so fun. Nate313, I got tired of staring at Rainey's sub CG. Okay. Good to see you, Nate313. I know those two guys in that photo. Was that in... when was that? Was that in C2E2? Was that in Chicago? When was that photo taken with those two? Great photo. Great photo. The classic Star Wars and Indiana Jones posters, absolutely. Drew Struzan rocked those. Were my favorites as a kid. Jeremy Birds, but Frazetta was a god to me. Yeah, love Frank Frazetta. Frank Frazetta is very well represented. I've got 3 Frank Frazetta books stacked up here. There are some really great books coming out, man, by Frank, because the rights to his work has been split between so many different people, so many of the different kids, I should say, and they all have a right to publish books, and so you're kind of getting the best books because they're, you know, having to compete with one another in terms of the quality. So yeah, it's cool to see. I just got my favorite reproductions of Frank's work. I actually saw on one of Aaron's streams. I didn't know they had come out, or that this company was doing Frazetta stuff. And they're taking Frazetta's paintings and they're doing books based on certain themes. So the first one was terror, and it was a lot of his beautiful and exquisite horror work, which of course I was incredibly excited about. And the soft covers are like, they're like poster books. You can actually pull the pages out if you want to. So like Eric Weathers' Battle Brick Road poster book, and they're really great. Let me know if you want to. Oh, Chicago C2E2. Awesome, Nate. Thanks, man. Thanks for the clarification. If you guys want to see, it's not Fine Lines, although that book looks really good, by the Frazetta girls. My brother Nick just sent me a picture of it. If you guys want to see the Frazetta book I'm talking about, just let me know and I'll break it out. Just hit me with a 1 in the chat and I'll grab it. It's right next to me. I'll just have to unearth it from a few things, but I won't have to go far. Let me see where I'm at here. There we go. And oh, I like that. I accidentally picked up some yellow oxide right there, but it's doing something. Let's let it do that, whatever the hell it is. What does the cinematographer say? It's God's way of setting the scene. There you go. Look at that, the unexpected. And whenever I paint wings, I know you guys, okay, I got a 1 from Nomad Damon. I don't want to disturb you. You're not disturbing my work, Spike Insanity. When I'm streaming, I'm here for you guys. I'm here to, believe me, I always make sure I have time to work in isolation, because I need to, because I'm an introvert in that way. But whenever I'm painting wings, just remember, Disney's Fantasia Night on Bald Mountain is 100% an inspiration to me. Love that scene. Used to race home from trick or treating to watch Disney's Halloween Treat that put all of their kind of Halloween things together. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Loved that stuff, man. And it's such great stuff. So this book, funny enough, using one of my favorite fonts that I love too, that you'll see me use a lot. I saw it and went, hey, that's that font I like. One of them anyway. It's the one that's on the spine. This is the book. These are large books. These are 11 by, maybe 12 by 18. I'm not sure. But I have the hardcover over there, but this is the softcover version of it, which I love. These are big. So these are about 11 by, well, do I have my ruler? I think I dropped my ruler back there somewhere, unfortunately, or I would grab it. But these are really nice big books. And the Terror one, because they're made to be pulled out as posters, they have white on one side. Also because they have good genes. Sorry, guys. That joke will never get old for me. And then it has a painting on the other side. So look at, I mean, the colors, man. That this is one I love. It's an underappreciated Frazetta piece, I think. It's known, but it's Color Insanity, the Mothman painting. How great is that? You know, it's so good, man. It's so good, and I found out, I'm like, watch for nudity, Shanth, you know, as I'm going through these. But it's got so many of his great monster paintings, and some that are kind of like I don't want to say unfinished, but are ones he didn't really do as much laboring on. So like something like this, which is a very sort of scribbly, crazy Frazetta sketch, is beautiful. And then, oh my God, look at this crazy. I've always loved this painting, man. The Night Stalker painting. Look at how crazy the colors are. So for me, painting is nothing if it's not about just letting the color go nuts. And I'm going to really let the color go nuts on this painting. But I love this. Oh gosh, one of my favorite books of all time. I've listened to this audiobook going to sleep almost as much as I've listened to Art Bell Ghost to Ghost going to sleep. This is Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I have a short video on the bridge of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow on this channel. If you haven't watched it yet, go to my shorts at some point and check it out. It's about the Forget What You've Been Taught About, the Sleepy Hollow Bridge, which is a series of videos I do. What's up, Leg Kick One? Great to see you, brother. I've seen this original. It's Kirk Hammett, the guitarist for Metallica, owns this original, and I've seen this, and it's much more luminous than this, but this is still a decent reproduction. This was painted in acrylic, which I didn't know how much acrylic work Frazetta did, but it's a great book, and I'll hold it up just so you can get a sense of the scale. Very good book, decent price. I forget what it was, but it's really nice. These reproductions are great. So as a painter, highly recommend. But it's great to see you, Leg Kick One, man, and great to have you here, brother. Hope you were doing well. Yeah, there's some, paint is life. It 100% is. I want everybody, I agree with Bob Ross, man. If people want to paint, they should get themselves some paint. If they have questions, ask Eric Weathers. I should put this on Eric. If you have questions about what materials you're supposed to use, Eric wrote all my materials down. He has the list. So hit up Eric Weathers and ask him what materials I told him to buy. But if you want to learn how to paint and just paint for the sake of it enriching your life, do it. A lot of you guys don't know this, but I started taking violin lessons. I haven't had them in a while, but I still play the violin. I'm never going to be some great violinist, but I need to do it. I need to scratch away on it and play, Christmas carols when Christmas time rolls around, or, the Ashokan Farewell, or some of the favorite soundtracks to things I like. But I just love to play the violin. It makes me happy. And if painting is something you think might make you happy, there's no time like the present to start looking into how to get started. And I have to tell you, when Eric reached out to me about it, and I sort of was like, I can teach you how to paint. I know it takes a lot, but now he's off and running, and it's like, even though I've only been teaching him for like, what is it now? Maybe a year and a half, maybe by now. He has grown so much as an artist, and he's really into it. Shanth Enjeti, Season 2, Episode 1 of, Creep Show. The series has an episode called Dead TV, Bob Ross versus the Evil Dead. I've got to check that out. That sounds awesome, man. Oh, that's so great. That's so great. And hail to everybody in the chat. I hope you guys are doing well. 128 people watching, 62 likes. Thank you so much. Hit that like if you have not done so yet. And if you're over on X, feel free to swing on over to YouTube and let YouTube know that you like what you're watching. Just because I like to keep them guessing, like to keep them wondering, like to keep them annoyed. It's one of the joys of this world, you know? So yeah, and sometimes I'll be painting something that's a foreground element, and other times I'll say, you know what, I want to paint the background to make the foreground element come forward. And just working with that material, working with the acrylics, working with the canvas board to let it do what it wants to do will give you effects that you can't get by just, you know, it's funny, I love Frazetta, I love Basil Gogos, but fortunately, I learned how to paint before I saw their work, so I didn't have the problem of getting into their work and trying to replicate it because I never thought I'd be a painter. So first I just had to learn how to paint. And the cool thing about that is that sense of fearlessness that I wanted to have as a painter, when I did see them, I went, that's what I'm trying to do. And it wasn't about trying to ever make work, because you can't, that looks like their stuff or is reminiscent of their stuff. It's about being a painter and having the same commitment to painting, like, and making painting, the sense of play that those guys have. That's what people want to see, and that's what I want to always make sure I provide people with when they back Nosfero the Crypt Walker. Again, link is at the top of the description. And with Springball especially, if you want to see my color theory in both digital and traditional, back Nosfero the Crypt Walker and back Springball, the campaign that I have, my most recent campaign. Nosfero you don't want to miss because it's going to be closing and going to the printer soon. I've been working on that all day, getting all this stuff organized and things like that, sketches scanned in, and unearthed my scanner so I could do all that work. But yeah, guys, I'm going to make sure I've got some time here where I'm painting for you guys so that if this is something you want to try, if this is something that fickles your tancy, as we like to say, that you might be open to trying it out for yourself, because I didn't know how to paint when I was in my 20s. And I don't have a Stradivarius, unfortunately, Spike Insanity, and I love it, man. Hey, good to see you here. Let me see here. Instruments are a great form of art. Absolutely. And, you know, for me, I have a messed up, warped left arm from the joys of childhood. And I'll show it to you here because it's easier to see when you look at it straight on. I don't know if you guys can see that bend. But when there you go, that's actually kind of a better angle of it. Let me see here which way I lean. There you guys go. So you can kind of see what kind of that hurts sometimes. Jesus. Yeah, there's a little bit of Nosfero's origin story for me there in my life. So but one of the things about it is that it helps me to keep this arm strong to because you use your left hand so much for the violin. So sometimes I try to avoid doing stuff with this arm because it hurts, you know, because of the whatever happened to it when I was really little. And thanks, Seeker of the Moon. I appreciate that, man. It also makes using my left arm for reference impossible. But it's good for that because it keeps it engaged. It keeps that arm engaged. I do also sometimes draw left-handed just for fun every now and again, just because it's fun to switch that side of your brain up a little bit. But the violin really demands a lot of the left arm, and because you have to hold it up like that, it really helps build the shoulder and keeps it going, man. Yep, watch it on right on Shadowhawk Backs. I love it, man. Oh my lord. Yeah. So it's one of those things where the violin is incredibly helpful. And I think anything you do where you're working, you know, with paint, or if you're doing woodworking or carpentry or metalsmithing or jewelry or needle or knitting or crochet or whatever it is, because my wife actually does a lot of that kind of stuff, it's very good for the mind. And it's really good for just keeping you physically engaged, and it's good for anxiety too, because I know a lot of people, you know, get sucked into the doom scrolling thing. And I always want to say, you know, just get yourself moving, whatever it is. Like when I'm painting and I'm hitting a wall, I'll just go and do dishes or something like that, or, do something that just gets me moving and not thinking, because sometimes that's the stuff that'll just kind of throw you. And so when I paint, as you can tell, it's a purely physical thing for me. I can have a conversation with you guys while I paint because the painting is the physicality for me. And that's what I want to make sure that I always tell people. Thank you. Yeah, the painter's tape is necessary, Soul Curial. It's great to see you, man. Nosferatu. That's right, man. Man, I love the 1922 movie. And I want to say this, man. I am so glad that Shane flipped out over the same way I did, the 2024 version of it. Because I love that movie and I'm impressed by it. And I went in preparing to be disappointed because I'm a massive Nosferatu fan, man. Yeah, that's right, man. All phenomenon is physical. Yeah, the physicality of things is good for you. That's why, Soul Curial, you raise a good point. It's like I was watching, when I watch people go to concerts, it's like, why go to concerts live? You can hear it on the CD. No, it's not the point. If you love music and you like to go to concerts and you like to see your favorite musician perform live, it's not just the song, it's them performing the song in that moment in time and you being present for that moment in time, man. It's crazy, man. It's all about that wood grain, man. It's all about that wood grain, And for me, every canvas panel is going to have almost pulled that off. Every canvas panel is going to have its own texture. The paint's going to break certain ways as it dries on your palette and as it changes its consistency on your palette that you're mixing on. It's going to do things that are unpredictable, and those unpredictable things are going to make the painting all the better for it, And I don't mix my colors. Sometimes I mix them thoroughly. Especially I encourage everybody when you're learning to mix your colors thoroughly, just so you can learn how to mix paint and get the right viscosity. And then sometimes I just kind of let them mix together in a much more watery fashion so that I can create something that is, something that's has life to it, something that's fresh. And has a vibe to it. And you could just see how the negative, painting into the negative form starts to just give it this different feel, this different sense to it. And I can work light to dark and I can work dark to light. So if I decide, you know what, I don't want the wing to get that thin, I can not cover up what I just did, but I can work into it. So all of a sudden there's almost like the light is breaking in to the shadow a little bit there. And it's going to make it a little bit more poetic and a little bit more convincing. And, convincing is a weird word. A little bit more honest, maybe because, it's not about fact as much as when you're painting is it's about kind of about a truth. You're everybody knows this is canvas and pigment. You're not showing them the actual person. So you're trying to capture something about the person, and you're trying to, or the character in this case. And so that's what I'm always kind of looking for when I do this work, and I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate Comicsgate, man, and being in Comicsgate is great, and getting to meet these crazy nuts who are fellow kings and talking shop, talking work, and talking about monsters has been great. I'm so glad all of you guys are here backing books and supporting us in what we do, because there's no other way this would work. And I think that you guys are true, according to Hoyle, patrons of the arts and patrons of imaginative fiction and patrons of creativity and independence. And I am so grateful to all of you guys. So I'm going to wrap up because I can hear the missus coming home and she's going to go, have you been streaming for 3 hours? The answer, as you guys know, is yes. Thank you to the 132 people watching on X and YouTube, the 65 likes on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for being here. I'm sure there's some amazing streams that are going on right now. So allow me to say, from the heart of Lovecraft country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is SHANTH ENJETI. You've been watching SHANTH ENJETI Art. As always, speak easy, stay gold, keep the faith, and peace be with you guys. Give nihilism no quarter. I appreciate all of you guys. Have a wonderful night, a happy Wednesday, and I will be back soon doing some fun stuff, and we'll have a great time. Thank you, channel member Jeremy Birch. Jeremy, you always put a smile on my face when I see you, man. I hope I tell you that enough, man. Seeker of the Moon, it is great to have you here. Nate313, thank you. And I'm going to play those credits with all my channel members' names in it, by the way, once we start, including Mark's Music Obsession. My brother, it is great to see you. So happy you have that painting and have had a chance to read Nosfero, brother. Over the wood, great indeed. Yeah, that's what we talk about. Sulcurial, it's great to see you. Nate313, Seeker of the Moon, Leg Kick 1, my brother, great to see you. Spike Insanity, Shadowhawk, Bax, it's great to see you, brother. Rachel Brinkley, thank you so much for being here today. N2 Paints, thank you for being here. It's great to see you. Let's see who else. Nomad Damon, my man. It is great to see you, Nomad Damon. Cranberry Langers, the OG. Let's see here. Who else have we got? How far back can I scroll here? Tarks9, it is great to see you, brother. All of you guys here, I appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And Stephen Rockwood, wherever you are, from my family to yours, everybody have a great evening. I will see you guys soon. And here are your names in the credits, channel members. Thank you for your support. You guys all make it possible. Take care. Bye.